You know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
It's like we're in a time machine. 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago, Olin Buchanan, the one that I used to do the show with, is back with a cleaned up haircut, looking young, looking.
You know what? I found it because I went to the person that always cuts my hair, and she said, "You haven't been here since December."
It's been that long.
6 months. And here's the deal. Yeah, I'm very clean. I told her, I said, "Look, my wife likes the length of my hair, so but it's sitting in it's poofing out on the sides, it's getting in my face. So I just need you to clean it up, but make sure I don't look like I have a mullet."
Okay.
So essentially, she ignored what I told her and did what she wanted. And I thought,
Isn't this what I said?
Is my wife actually cutting my hair? Ignore what I say and just do what you want. Joking, Irma.
Did you actually tell her not to cut that much off?
Yeah, I told her. I said I want to have a.
Because she cut a lot off.
Yeah. It looked like I don't know, looked like a pack of dogs on the ground. You know, all that hair was.
So did you make a comment during or after?
No, because once it's already too late.
So now you got to do it all over again.
It was like when I got that ticket in
Baton Rouge.
This is Lake Charles. Remember?
Lake Charles, yeah.
And you were like, "Why aren't you mad?" I'm like, "Well, there's nothing I can do about it.
It already happened.
It's happened." So.
But are you going to grow it out again?
Irma says she likes the long hair.
Was she upset yesterday?
Not upset. But anyway, so.
You look good, buddy.
Thank you.
I missed the Nick Nolte look, but I also missed the Olin Buchanan look, so welcome back. So we're going to talk a little football, as we normally do. We're going to have a Coach Earley. Actually, I'm going to tell the people what's on the show today.
Tell us.
We're going to have Michael Earley on the program. Okay. He'll be joined by Richard Zane.
Coach.
Yeah, baseball coach of the A&M baseball team. We'll have Aaron Torres like we normally do on Thursdays. Fan show will start off the 10 o'clock hour, but we're closing out the 10 o'clock hour with Braden Shewmake at 10:35.
Power hitting Braden Shewmake.
Has a couple of home runs as a member of the Astros. One off of Shohei Ohtani. Thank you, Nick, for reminding me. That's right. And what else did I see? When he was traded to the Astros by the Yankees, he hit a home run against the Yankees in his first at-bat.
Yeah.
Apparently that happened when the Braves traded him to the White Sox against the Braves. This is what the internet says. I hope the internet doesn't lie.
Right.
We can have Carson Stein kind of look that up to make sure I'm not telling you incorrect information. But, that's going to come up on the show. And, of course, Stephen McGee later.
Sounds like a great show on a Thursday.
So I saw yesterday a bunch of different shows that kind of do what we do, rating and who's the most overrated coach, most underrated coach, kind of questions on different shows, okay? And are you familiar with Paul Feinbaum?
I am.
He was asked about the most underrated coach.
Most underrated
He went on with a Crane and Cone and asked about the most underrated coach.
Okay.
And I'll see if you agree with this one. Here's
Did he say Mike Elko?
He might have.
Yeah.
Kind of. Here's Paul Feinbaum.
I want to get your opinion on the most underrated coach.
Right.
Well, is there a coach?
He gets a lot of credit, but he doesn't get enough, and I think that's Mike Elko at Texas A&M.
Yes.
I don't know a guy. You couldn't design a better coach for that program.
I agree.
Than Elko. He just picked a terrible time for his quarterback to lose perspective at the end of the Miami game. But I think when you consider the disaster that Jimbo Fisher was at that program with everything handed to him. And Mike Elko came in there seamlessly and built it back. And it still has a Texas problem. We get that. But really, I think he's a master class in what a coach should look like.
Can't agree more with our guy there, Paul Feinbaum.
The only thing I would push back on a little is
Marcel?
No. Even though they were at the 5-yard line. In a big,
I don't think they lost the game because of Marcel, by the way.
But he has to play better.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely a disappointment. But was Jimbo's tenure really a disaster? Or was it a disappointment?
Well, there's two ways to look at it, I think. I don't think it was a disaster.
Take out the money.
Yeah. Well, but people can't. That's the problem when you talk about.
But if you pay somebody $10 million or $1 million, the bottom line is what do you do on the field?
Well, he should have gotten to the playoffs, got to a New Year's Six bowl. He lost his starting quarterback 3 straight years.
Often, yes.
Okay. And oftentimes he lost his second string quarterback too. Mm-hmm. So look, at the end of the day, he is ultimately responsible for what happens in wins and losses, right?
Right.
The 22 recruiting class, the greatest ever, a colossal failure from that perspective for what they meant to the program, okay? Overall. I don't think he was a colossal failure. I think when you evaluate it with the money and all the resources, it does look that way, yes. I can understand, but I understand your point as well.
All I care about is what do you do on the field? And it was a disappointment based on what we expected, what we thought we were getting. I thought the first 3 years
really good.
Were really good. And then it's almost counterproductive that they had the number 1 class. And then when you really looked at it, they had a lot of players. And there were some questionable character issues, but it was too loaded at defensive line positions. And you went back and you look at the offensive linemen they brought in. And so it was but it wasn't a balanced class.
Right.
They were trying to get the number 1 class. But anyway, that's beside the point. Even in the year he got fired, they finished that year?
7-5.
7-5. And I think they had, not that, I'm not trying to be the Jimbo defender here. I just, run some quarterback sneaks and you beat Tennessee.
Yep.
Maybe if Edgerrin Cooper doesn't get hurt, you beat Tennessee. Max Johnson on first down and goal, throw the ball out of the end zone if the guy's not open against Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. So, and then had a chance to go into overtime, missed the field goal. So the point I was making is to say disaster. I'm thinking when you use the word disaster, I'm thinking Chad Morris at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know that I would have called the guy that followed Mike Leach at Mississippi State, Zach Arnett. That's what I think when I think disaster. I have no argument at all when you say, man, Jimbo Fisher, that was disappointing. I don't know if it was a disaster.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think several things happened. I think Jimbo lost his fastball, I do, in the new era of college sports, kind of like what we're watching with Dabo Swinney, right? I don't think he evolved as well as others are evolving. I think Mike Elko seems to be evolving with it.
I do think it's not a coincidence that Jimbo's program was doing this at A&M, and then Mike Elko left to go to Duke.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it started doing this. I don't think that's a coincidence at all.
Yeah, and if you go back to the last season Elko was here, 21, they did go 8-4, which was disappointing coming off the prior season going 9-1, right? But you did lose your starting quarterback in week 2 of the season.
Yeah.
It does. People don't want excuses, but it does play a role. The baseball team last year loses top 2 players for most of the season, if not the entire season. It does affect it.
Florida State.
Yeah. Jordan Travis.
They lost their, and
they got dismantled. Right.
So
but eventually you have to overcome injuries, right? They're only okay for so long. Let's go back to Coach Elko. Coach Elko, to me, he is more than I expected from a program builder, leader, CEO type. Like, I believe he delegates. I believe he takes control when he needs to. Obviously, the recruiting is, if not as good as Jimbo, better, right? It's feeling like it right now. His ability to evaluate in the transfer portal has been fantastic. And a lot of the names that we've talked about from the portal in years past were not highly touted names.
Yeah.
You know, who was talked about last year? Micah Hudson.
Yeah, who didn't play. But, you know, when he brought in Nate Bokacher, did it even register on the scale, on the transfer portal Richter scale, or Tyler Onyedem? It barely. Dayon Hayes probably barely registered, and you know you got really good to great contributions out of those guys. I think that's what Mike Elko does that Jimbo couldn't, is find that guy that just fits your need.
Well, apparently, Coach Elko spoke with USA Today this week. Blake Toppenmeyer, I don't know if you know him.
No.
Asked about playoff expansion. And he says about playoff expansion, the head coach who wants to keep his job, he'll say the right size is 45 teams or however many we can fit possibly in. Because making the playoffs is becoming such a marker for premier programs, which is either you're in or you're out. And if you're out, you have failed. You have to keep the regular season meaningful, he says. You cannot turn this into a college basketball. We'll lose everything that college football has ever been about. Hear, hear.
I like him even more now because he kind of agrees with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind if you go to 16 teams, though.
Yeah.
16 makes sense to me. 24. College football for a couple of 2 or 3 decades now, I've had a top 25. So if you go for 24, I guess I can see the logic in that. But I just know if you go to 24, eventually you'll go to 32.
Here's one to upset OB. You go to a 25-team playoff with the top team getting a bye.
Yeah, but
it still wouldn't work.
I don't think it still work. No.
You get a lot of buys. Many buys. Buys for you, buys for me. Hey, this is TexAgs Live.
It's brought to you by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Yes, and we are in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Jason, Jackson, Keith, Morgan, and the rest.
The boys.
The women.
The girls.
All of them.
And this hour has a name. We call it the Go Hour.
And that's brought to you by the Warehouse at CC Creations.
Yeah. And we are sitting right now in a place that we call the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
We love making money. We love sitting in a cool place.
Yeah. Make enough money, you can sit in a cool place anytime you want.
If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. Tell them one way.
Well, one way is you can call us on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. That number's 979-693-1150.
Or you can text us on that same number. We switched the name. We call it the
Catalyst, Pure Performance Energy Text Line, PPE.
Who's down with PPE? We go around the room. We go left to right. We go behind the glass. And ladies and gentlemen, the producer, the director today is Reese Nygren.
LaGrange Reese.
Here we go. New era begins right now.
Did you fire Nick?
I did not fire Nick. Nick is sitting right next to me.
You demoted
actually.
Nick. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, we moved him to assistant director for the day.
Okay. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How are y'all?
Well, do you have anything you want to contribute to the program this morning?
I do. Y'all were talking about college football playoffs, and I saw this college football playoff projection from Brent McMurphy at On3.
Hold on. Doesn't he typically have like negative thoughts about A&M?
I don't think so. One time at a couple of years ago at the SEC media days, he had a typo where he called it's something like he called instead of Texas. I'm trying to remember what it was. We put Texas Longhorns.
Oh, no.
And it.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe that's what I'm remembering. All right. Nygren, go ahead.
Well, he actually has A&M in the 12-team playoff. He has them as the 8 seed, playing Texas Tech, the 9 seed, with Miami as the 1 seed, who the winner would get. He has North Dakota State as the 12 seed, making it as the group of 5 representative. He has the Longhorns as the 6 seed.
Today, do you have A&M in the playoffs?
Well, seeing as though I haven't done one, but
you just ballpark it.
You know what? I would not, because, and I've said this over and over, so if you watch this show or follow anything I have to say, and why would you? But if you did, I want to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I have consistently said over and over that you can't be a great team without a really good to great offensive line. And until I see the offensive line that they're putting together this year.
Yep.
With 4 new guys, I have to be somewhat apprehensive. And that I say that, so I should leave out LSU as well, right?
Yeah.
Because they're having almost an all-new offensive line.
So I agree with you. I do. But if I'm going to be optimistic, this is why I'll be optimistic. I think the recipe that they're attacking this offensive line with is the kind of recipe I would go with. SEC experience, big dudes who have done it before. The only hesitation, and by the way,
great offensive line coach.
Great offensive line coach. And
Tommy Moffitt.
And they develop guys. So there's young players who might overtake these SEC experienced guys, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm hoping for, because it takes, to me, it's chemistry. It's not talent. It's how long does it take? But if you look at the A&M schedule, the first 5 weeks or so are at least, I think, they can ease their way into becoming. Look, they got LSU in the first month, right?
Yeah.
So it's not. I'm not saying it's easy by any stretch. You got Arizona State coming here.
Yeah, we don't know what Arizona State's going to be. Their quarterback's in Baton Rouge.
But it's not November.
It's not November. Want to be good in November. Look, they're going to beat Missouri State. I think they'll beat Arizona State. They're going to beat Kentucky, I believe, and then got to go to LSU. Make it back-to-back at Baton Rouge.
God, that would be great.
And then Arkansas. They're going to beat Arkansas. Got to go to Missouri again.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll beat Missouri. Missouri, if you look at what Missouri lost on defense, what they have to replace, Missouri had a surprising amount of players off their defense drafted.
Yeah.
Not just losing starters that was drafted. I'm going to be skeptical about Missouri. They're going to beat Citadel. I don't think it's out of the realm of reality to say that they'll go to Alabama undefeated.
Yeah.
Maybe one loss because it's hard to take anything.
You better not have 2 losses if you're thinking about the playoffs with the way the back end is.
That's true.
Yeah. Take care of business at LSU, at Missouri, of course, all on the road.
Go to Tuscaloosa 7-0.
Am I? No, okay. Your first SEC home game is Kentucky in the 3rd week of the season, but then you don't return home for a SEC home game until November the 14th. You have Arkansas. I'm sorry.
You know what makes me laugh about Kentucky, about them playing Kentucky here? I don't know how many times over the last, since I've been here, so I've almost coming up on 14 years, have I heard, the problem with the SEC and their scheduling is the way that, you'll have people go to school for their whole 4 years and never go to.
You've never been to Lexington at TexAgs,
and
right?
so they finally, A&M's never been to Lexington.
Yeah.
So then they finally now Kentucky's been here. So they say, okay, we're going to change that. We're going to 9 games in the first. We're going to put Kentucky on A&M's schedule and send them to College Station.
Stupid. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Carson Stein making his return to TexAgs. It's been 2 freaking years.
Too long.
What, did David have another flat tire? Is that why you're back?
I wish that was the case.
Why would you wish that? Let's see what your response is to that.
Easy to get a job, obviously.
Oh, okay. Well, we brought you back because you're pretty good at what you do.
That too.
You are in grad school?
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Majoring in sport management, graduating in December of this year.
And, when Carson left us, he didn't leave us for too long. He went to work for Louis at the Zone for about a year?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. Then he started focusing on school, and then we said we ripped him back and brought him back in. Be like the Godfather.
I was going to say, well, I see him. He's working for Mr. Charles.
He is working for Mr. Charles.
That too. Can't get enough of that.
Carson, I don't know if you were here yesterday. I don't think you were, but there was a large contingency of Texas A&M fans in our lobby, called our employees, watching the A&M softball game, which started off horribly, started feeling good, ended horribly. Take us through that.
All right, so softball, as most of us know, last night they lost to Auburn 11-8 in the second round of the SEC tournament. Texas A&M scored 5 unanswered runs between the 5th and 6th innings to tie the game before Auburn reclaimed the lead with a 3-run home run in the 7th. Got a couple interesting notes here, like Michaela Wark went 2 for 3 with a double, walk, and 3 RBIs, and Maya Perez added a 2-run home run, scored twice. Maya. She extended her nation-leading on-base streak to 56 games.
That's pretty freaking fantastic.
She's a fantastic player.
Yeah, she is. Any other stories for us this morning?
I just wanted to ask you guys this with all that talk about SEC right now. So ESPN ranked every SEC team based on their offseason and had Texas A&M at number 5 behind Georgia, Ole Miss, LSU, and Texas.
Why don't we tackle that on the next side? All right, we'll tackle that on the other side because I think we can probably chew into that for a little bit, OB. All right, let's take Coach Elko.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm always trying to find
the most underrated.
Yeah.
Let's take the most underrated coach in America to maybe the most underrated barbecue place in America.
Let's take the most underrated and the most overrated to have a conversation about why they suck and why they're good. Who would they be?
The most overrated, most underrated is Elko. Most overrated is going to be Lane Kiffin.
Really? You think so?
No, he's not.
He's pretty darn good, I think.
Yeah, he is.
But he doesn't win a lot of big games.
He's been at Ole Miss. Well, there's so many coaches that have been forced out.
Is Kalen DeBoer right now overrated or maybe in the wrong spot?
I think he's in the wrong spot. You know what would be the right spot, though? The right spot would be to go 1775. Because
we can have this conversation there.
We should be. In fact, I'm sure we will be able to take it down. You know what's underrated? What's underrated is this succulent brisket because Olin says it's amazing, right? Or the pork ribs, Olin says they're amazing, but they're better than that.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think we underrate the queso mac and cheese?
You know what? I think we rate it high, but it's like you rate them number one, and it's still better than that. It's kind of like I hate to say it, but it's kind of like LSU in 2019.
Yeah.
Not only was it number one, but it blew away the competition.
It blew away
just
the competition.
Didn't beat the competition. The way A&M is going to be in 2026.
What you should do is visit 1775. They're open Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until they're sold out. The website is 1775txbbq.com, or you can call them up, 979-492-6241. It is 1775.
It's incredibly good.
Yeah, good. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is at 10:50, and that's brought to you by Double Days. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Days. They've been serving Aggie Land since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. He's OB. I'm David. Carson Stein is back at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. So you introduced a topic that probably took more than 32 seconds to break down. So that's why we hit a break, and we're going to come back. So say that again. It's from ESPN.
Yeah, ESPN ranked every SEC team based on their offseason. Texas was ranked 1, LSU was ranked 2, Ole Miss 3, Georgia 4, and A&M coming in number 5. And I just wanted to know what y'all's opinion on that one was.
Well, OB, you have to have offseason content, right? So none of us will know for a few months.
Where was LSU?
LSU was number 2.
Yeah, I would say LSU's number 1, if for no other reason.
And on all of these, it gives key additions and key departures.
Right. The number one thing, key addition for LSU
Lane Kiffin.
is Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, he's better than Brian Kelly. Significantly better.
Think.
I think he's significantly better. Well, maybe the fit might be better.
The fit.
Because people, do you remember when, what was his name at Auburn a couple years ago that had left Boise State? I can't remember his name at the moment. Brian Harsin. They were talking about, it's not really about fit, it's about winning and losing. And I do believe certain markets are about fit.
Oh, absolutely.
Elko fits Texas A&M.
I think, yes, he does. I think Kalen DeBoer is a really good football coach.
Maybe not as good at Alabama.
I just don't think he fits at Alabama. I don't think you should bring somebody from the Pacific Coast into the SEC. I think you're asking for trouble.
Does anybody fit at Alabama after Nick Saban, directly after?
Well, no, or they could, but it's just going to be unlikely.
Right.
It's like, another example. Back in the day, Tom Osborne was a great fit to replace Bob Devaney at Nebraska. But Frank Solich was probably a good fit, to your point, at Nebraska, just at the wrong time.
Because he's probably been the most successful coach since then, right?
Right. Well, the crazy guy,
Bo Pelini?
Pelini, he was actually successful.
But he was crazy.
And he pissed so many people off. They were winning 9 games or 10 games all the time. But he was such a bad fit, and he just made people angry. They were ready to get rid of him despite his success. Right. I thought Ed Orgeron was a great fit
for LSU.
And they won a national championship.
Yeah.
His problem was he started thinking it was because of him.
Yeah.
Just recruit, be the face, and get out of the way and hire good assistants.
So we'll go through it. So Texas obviously added some, Hollywood Smothers. They added Cam Coleman. They added some pieces to their defense. Significant offseason for them.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I'll give them credit for that. You said 2 was LSU?
2 was LSU, and their main additions are obviously Sam Levitt, Jordan Seaton, and Prince Will Umanumelen.
Okay, I'm not impressed with Prince, and I'm not impressed with, I don't know if I'm impressed with Sam Levitt yet. I don't know.
He was good at Arizona State.
Yep.
They seem to like to get quarterbacks from Arizona State at LSU.
Didn't they also pick up Hassan Longstreet? Am I right about that?
Yes.
Yeah, but if Levitt's playing Longstreet,
I'm just saying as an option. Okay, and then you have 3 as Ole Miss.
3 was Ole Miss, which
I don't know enough about Ole Miss's offseason other than, hey, we got Kawan Lacey to come back and Trinidad Chambliss. Like, that's a huge offseason.
Yeah, they won the I don't want to call it a lawsuit, but
right.
They found a way to keep Trinidad Chambliss playing.
That is worthy of a top 5. Like, you might have the best quarterback in the SEC.
And they got away with tampering.
Just ask Dabo.
Yeah.
4 was?
4 was Georgia.
I don't even know what Georgia did.
Georgia's just Georgia.
What moves did Georgia make?
It says their key additions are wide receiver Isaiah Canyon from Georgia Tech, edge Armaris Williams, and safety Khalil Barnes.
Okay, well, people know more about it than I do, so all right, if you say so.
And I'm assuming for A&M, it's talking about Isaiah Horton, Ray
Ricky
Coney.
Gibson, and Wilcom Formby are the top 3 key additions it says they brought in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you for including A&M on that top 5.
Yeah.
Of course, they would have said LSU was number 1 last year, I bet.
I think they did, because most people did.
Yeah.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back. I already see him in the lobby. We've got Stephen McGee here. We'll chit-chat with Stephen. We'll just go through a couple college football topics. Right now, let's talk about Rollo Insurance. They build lasting relationships through education, helping you understand what you're buying and the why behind it. They have expertise in just about everything from home to auto to business to specialty coverage and to ranch insurance, you name it. Their independent agents provide options tailored to your specific need. They take time to explain policy in plain language, ensuring you're never left wondering about your coverage. Many clients do discover better options simply by knowing what they have and understanding those options. Experience the difference at one of their 60-plus offices in the great state of Texas. Again, their headquarters are right here in College Station on Highway 6. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. Or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. We're back on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for our weekly conversation with our buddy Stephen McGee, brought to you by our good friends at Paragon Financial Advisors, our QB1, and your financial QB at Paragon Financial, helping you call the right place for your financial future. What up, buddy?
Hey, good morning. How are we?
Hey, I got just a question. You know, we always start off something non-sports and it upsets people. That's great. There's two types of people in this world.
OB.
He looks different, doesn't he?
You look chopped.
Wait, isn't that what the kids mean? This is not a good thing?
Is it?
Chopped?
Chopped.
When someone looks chopped, what does it mean, Carson?
Chopped is not a very good thing.
No,
That's not what you meant.
I learned this term 30 seconds ago, and they were like, "Tell OB he's looking chopped on set." You know, with the
Well, I
fresh cut.
probably am, and he means it in the not looking good.
So it says it's probably not something that everybody should Google.
Yeah.
Or is it?
I mean,
Like,
you can Google it. It just means like
just not looking good.
kind of look bad.
Yeah.
So like me.
I mean, my 13-year-old nephew says I look chopped all the time.
Yeah, my boys
Dude.
use that term all the time when somebody like, oh, he looks chopped.
What does chuz mean?
That one I don't know.
What's so funny?
Is that,
We can't say that on air.
That one you can't.
That one you can't explain.
See, man, I'll get myself in trouble trying to use all these terms nowadays.
Yeah,
I always ask them. I always want a fishbowl word of the week. Like,
Yeah.
hey, teach me.
Teach us,
Because
yeah.
eventually my day's coming, right? When my kids are going to be throwing out these things, and I need to know.
right.
Like, where do I draw the line in the sand? Like, wait a minute. No, we don't use that word. We can use chop, but not chuz. Don't let me hear chuz come out
Yeah,
here, right?
because you're about 3-4 years away. No, maybe a little bit longer. Maybe like 7 years away.
Yeah, before I got to worry about that.
Yeah, middle school I think is when it starts.
I got a lot of catching up and learning to do. I feel like I'm learning Chinese.
Yeah, but what happens is then you start talking like your kids. Like my daughters say bro to everybody, a girl or a guy, bro.
You know who's adopted into this way of life perfectly?
No, who?
Lucci.
Yeah, well, Lucci never grew up.
This is true. Hey, I've noticed something about you.
Oh boy.
You back into parking spots. You're a backer into parking spots. And I've always wondered the thought process behind that. Like my brother does the same thing. He always backs in. Why do you back in?
Well, when I back into a spot,
Seems like it'd be hard to do.
well, you know, they have all these cameras and technology now that really kind of keep you between the lines. It's,
I figure you just got used to going backwards from all those times you were running that A&M offense.
You're stupid. That is true. That's a great point. Let's be honest. Let's accept for the things for the way they are. I have. All right. I ran an offense that went backwards, and that's okay. I just like the idea that if I need to leave, I can get out in a one-point turn.
Okay.
Whereas if you back up, it's a 2-point situation, right? You've got to back out and then turn.
For emergency situations, you're saying?
Yeah, it's just an easier exit.
Okay. Because it's still the same movement, right?
But then you can also see, right, especially in this lot and around college kids, when I'm leaving, I can see cars that are coming this way much better because my nose is facing the direction where the cars are.
Do you do that like at the HEB parking lot as well? Or
I always prefer
to back in.
Now, I don't always do that.
Okay.
I'm not a 100% of the time guy.
I think my brother does it every time. So I was just curious.
Are you not at all?
It kind of depends on the situation. I like to drive through the other spot to that. That's my
the
move.
dream.
Yeah.
That is the dream situation, right? Where you pull into the parking lot and you see both sides open
and you just go through.
You just go straight through.
Kind of like when we were dreaming for a first down.
Yeah, we were. I remember we got a standing ovation in Kyle Field after we got our first down, like the third quarter.
I'm just kidding around.
It was like, yeah, all right.
You led some very good offenses.
You don't have to lie.
It's true.
Yeah, you can say I was chopped on the field.
No, I remember.
Or chuz, whatever the heck.
One time I thought
I
you
do
were
got to
going
ask what
back
that
as
means
OU.
at the break. Stephen, I'm going to ask you who you think is the top newcomer at A&M, and we can't say Zay Horton, okay? And I'll give you some names, and we can kind of go through them. So Isaiah Horton's obviously one of the easy names to say, right?
Yeah, I like Isaiah Horton.
I think Antosaka is another name we could talk about at the defensive end position.
Are we saying any of the offensive linemen that transferred in?
Wilkin Formby?
I mean, obviously the importance, we saw the difference. You win and lose football games at the line of scrimmage first and foremost. And so, to me, the offensive line, which a lot of new pieces, but you have pieces that have played a lot of football, and so you feel more confident that you're going to find a 5 that can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
I would always start right there, offensive line. And so hopefully one of these guys is a different maker. I don't know who it is today.
Tyree Adams, Wilkin Formby, Cohen Eccles.
All those guys. And then the difference maker and the guy we're going to have to know is a guy that gets after the quarterback. The two most important positions in football. Number one, you can't win without a quarterback. We know that. Number two, the guy that gets after the quarterback, i.e. Von Miller. A guy that's consistently disruptive, where you're having to slide guys over there, and they just create nightmares every game for an offensive play caller. And so who is that? And we've had some really good ones. And you think about the last several years, guys like, Cassius Howell that are consistent disruptors, and then losing Damian Sanford. What is the story? Do we know yet? Like, what is the timetable there?
We don't know the timetable. Billy says it's not as bad as people were initially speculating.
Okay,
he left it at that. I don't know what that means.
He's a guy that's disruptive as well, and so to me, finding a guy, is it Marco Jones?
Could be.
He's not a newcomer though.
I know, but like
newcomer on the scene.
On the scene, he is right. Like he's going to be more.
A new starter. Is that what you're talking
Potentially,
about?
or just somebody who has more of an impact this year that we're not thinking of. Maybe in that Damian Sanford vein from last season.
Exactly.
I think Ricky Gibson could have a story in this, the Tennessee cornerback who didn't play last year.
Yeah, Julian Humphrey is a guy that made some plays in the spring game at corner, losing Will Lee. That's going to be, you got in Mike Elko's defense, you got to play man-to-man defense, right? If you can't hold up on the edge man-to-man, we're not going to win. That's just a matter of fact.
I've got two suggestions here. Okay, Ray Coney. Linebacker's been an issue, and now your number one guy is out. And so that means your top three linebackers from last year are gone.
Right.
Or missing some time. Gone or missing some time. And then the other guy is, I know this isn't sexy, but David Olano.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
How different does the Miami game look? I know the wind had a lot to do with it. But if you hit some of those field goals, Miami could have hit some of those field goals too, by the way. So it goes both ways. But how different does the season feel if you hit a couple of
Hell, they
field
might have beaten Texas.
Texas, yeah.
And I would have got $200.
Listen, this is the first, the quickest texter ever trying to settle up bets. It's hilarious.
I settle bets right away.
Not 2 minutes later, I'm talking 15 seconds. The game was over. This man was like, let me settle Steven's bet before I write my article.
Oh, wow.
Quick.
This is for a different article I'm working on, but here's the field goal percentage for the last 5 national champions. Okay. Last year, Indiana converted 90.5% of their field goals. Ohio State was 76.5. Michigan was 85.7. Georgia was 84.4, and then in 2021, Georgia was 81.5% at field goals. A&M last year was 61.5%.
Oh, gosh.
61?
61.
Wow. I knew it was not good. I didn't know it was that bad.
So if you're going to win a championship, you're probably going to win at least one game along the line, where you're going to have to
hit some field goals.
Your field goals, your kicker is going to be a big factor.
1,000%.
David Olano, 86%
That's a great one.
career field goal percentage.
If you get 81 plus next year from your field goal, from your kicker, if it is Olano, which I think it will be, these tight games that we've seen every weekend in the SEC feels that way. To Olin's point, feels like more in favor of A&M.
Absolutely. What's the young kid's name that made the 50?
Asher Murray.
Asher Murray, the 53-yarder in the spring game. That was impressive.
Oh, yeah, that was.
We made all of the field goals in the spring game.
5 for 5.
Yeah, there you go. That's a step in the right direction.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with a little buy, sell, hold next on TexAgs Live.
About kickers.
Right now, Ground Shuttle. They offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport. You can commute in comfort with luxury in shuttles that'll just be a great place to sit, sleep, whatever you want to do, recline your seats, catch up on work emails. They depart from Casa de Brazil, right next to it, right in South College Station. You can get dropped off at your office, or you can utilize their secured on-site parking for free for the first 4 days. Ground shuttles run every 9 times a day, every hour and a half, and 5 times on the weekends, every 2.5 hours. Great for business travelers and much, much more. Check out the website, groundshuttle.com, to learn more about it. That is groundshuttle.com, or give them a call, 855-303-4415. It's Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving.
All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas Maroon and Gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors, designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, yeah, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out Burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family.
And we're back, TexAgs Live. Time for a little buy, sell, hold, brought to you by Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. If you want financial guidance that truly puts you first, visit paragon-adv.com. All right, we're going to do a fake conference realignment for the SEC. All right, you got to pick the buy, sell, hold from these three teams. And they're teams we've talked about 1,000 times, but not in this fashion. Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina. If you had your pick for who would be added, one team can only be added in this conversation to the SEC. Buy, sell, hold. Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina.
Wow. Football conversation. I don't know why I'm tempted to say Florida State.
Okay.
Because I think they bring some value in a football-rich state, a lot of historical value, but they're also not very good right now. Mm-hmm. And I like the idea of having a team that's not as competitive thrown into the mix because everyone in the SEC is already so good. Clemson would be my least. They're obviously a much better team, even though they've been more mid lately, but definitely a proven winner. And then I'm going to sell UNC just because the Belichick situation. Well, actually, it'd probably make good ratings. It's like the girlfriend. Is the girlfriend still in the
Yeah, she's still there.
Yeah.
Jennifer Hudson or something like that? What's her name?
No, not Jennifer Hudson.
Singer, right?
Yeah. I can't remember her name.
Michael?
No, not Micah Hudson.
Is she a Chuz?
Now that we know.
Last year at North Carolina, Bill Belichick was chopped.
Yeah,
he was.
He was.
But let me tell you something. Okay, the one I would buy.
I think you're buying North Carolina.
I'm buying North Carolina.
I knew it.
Without a doubt, because
you're not in North Carolina.
I'm not in order. I still think that the amount of people that are going to tune in and watch you is going to improve your TV package. I can get North Carolina. That's a pretty populous state. I'm not there yet. So, and they can be good. They have been good before. The one I'm going to hold is Florida State.
I agree.
A lot of people in Florida, big school. It's got a history that it's not a great history, but I think let's say since 1970 at least they've sustained success more than Clemson has. And in Clemson, you're in South Carolina
Already, yeah.
I mean, how many TVs are there in South Carolina that aren't on the front porch? Joking. Joking. I'm joking. Of course I'm joking. I don't need Clemson. And when Dabo's gone, are they going to go down even further? I mean, Clemson. I mean, they're good. They've had their moment, but I think their moment has passed.
Well, who brings the most value to the conference from a revenue perspective? Do you know? Offhand, I'm just guessing.
I would assume North Carolina.
I would say North Carolina.
You think so?
I think so.
Just because they're basketball? Obviously, it's not TV.
No, I think it's because you're not in the state. I think you get all those eyeballs.
Interesting.
If I want to expand, I want to get into a new state. And if I'm going to have two teams, I want it to be in the most populous state I can have it in.
I'll tell you what I don't want to see happen, though. I don't want to see the Big Ten at a Florida school.
Yeah.
Because the Big Ten is becoming more of a national league, and I do think the SEC is still more a southeastern, western regional league.
Yeah, I agree. Or let's just scratch the whole thing and make this a 60-team conference. Let's just get to where it needs to be.
But the Big Ten doesn't want to absorb the SEC, and the SEC doesn't want to absorb the Big Ten, right? So I don't know if that it's going to have to be like a thing in baseball, an American League, National League kind of thing.
That's exactly what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's going to be like. And both conferences eventually going to have probably like 20 teams and two conferences. They'll let somebody else hang around.
Do they do the Big 10, or excuse me, the Big 12 and ACC merge into one? Do 20-20-20? 60 teams?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
I would go 60.
And then what's SMU going to be doing? Like, I don't know what
affiliation?
What conference I should be in. I mean, I'm in the big, always want to be in the big, I'm in the ACC, but I can come back,
They're going to be in trouble.
God forbid what. College football, does it really matter? I mean, geographically, you have Cal, Berkeley, and Stanford that are right there on the Pacific Ocean. I mean, you can be in the press box at Berkeley and look out at the bay, which then goes out to the Pacific Ocean, and you're playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference. So does it even matter?
It's fair. It's really weird.
Yeah. North Carolina, though, from a basketball perspective, would be really interesting in the SEC.
Yeah, sure it would. But basketball's never going to pay the bills that you have.
No.
No, but it can enhance. You're right.
Sure it does.
It's a little sprinkle.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. It's all about the football revenue.
It is all about football,
I'm fascinated to know which one of those programs brings in the most revenue. I guess, it's technically just the TV contract, the conference. That's the vast majority of it. But then there's all the auxiliary stuff, right? I don't think Florida State is really a wealthy alumni base, and I don't think Clemson is. I mean, you heard Dabo complaining about that the other day.
Everybody's tampering to get their players.
Yeah, and they don't have the level playing field from a monetary perspective, but some of these schools surprise you, right? With deeper pockets.
We got about 40 seconds. What school would you add that's not affiliated to the Big Ten? Like, so your field is completely open. If you could add a school that's not affiliated with the Big Ten, who would it be?
It's such a
besides what the three you mentioned.
Yeah,
Miami. I mean, like,
I would like that.
I'd like it for the trip. But
yeah.
I know you did.
It's a good trip.
I have to say
Louisiana Lafayette.
I'd have to say Texas Tech.
You know what? That was the first school that came to mind.
Yeah.
I like Lubbock. I mean, I don't like Lubbock, but I like the idea of that atmosphere.
Got to drop it there. We'll be back with Michael Earley and Richard Zane on TexAgs Live. Here on TexAgs Live, we're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. A little baseball talk. Richard Zane joining me as Michael Earley in studio before the Aggies head out to Oxford to take on Ole Miss. Coach Earley, hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm all right. So let's just kind of go through what this season's looked like so far. 11-1 in midweeks, 21-2 in non-conference play. That's what good teams do. Just talk a little bit about how you've taken care of business, obviously with just 2 series left.
Yeah, I'm very just proud of the Tuesday games. Like those are tough, right? It's a different style of game. It's just different than the weekend. It is what it is, and you see every week, teams lose to teams that maybe people perceive them they're not supposed to lose to them, or the score's tighter than what people think. So when you look back at it and you put it like that in the record, we did a really good job. I think the game we lost was by 1 on the road to a team that was playing really good baseball. So, I guess 1 win away from it being exactly what you want. And then the non-conference, you add in that midweek loss, and we had the sneaker against UCLA. But other than that, we've done what we're supposed to do. So good job on that part of, as you start putting the resume together, like we check that box for sure.
And then you explained it really well post-game on Tuesday. 16-7 wins, over a team that's ranked 302nd RPI. A lot of teams canceling these late midweek games to try and protect the resume. But you explained where you're coming from. To me, is the right decision, and obviously you got to see somebody emerge in Hunter Bond. So when you talk about not wanting to get dinged behind closed doors, how did you come to that thought process and honoring those games and wanting to play the schedule as scheduled?
It wasn't my thought process, just purely mine. It would talk to people, like talk to other coaches and people in the game. And people have played these games. They just played them earlier on, right? Mm-hmm. And then they had that. I think we dropped 3 points. And I just got to believe when you're behind closed doors, if you're a team that canceled or a team that didn't, and it's right there, I think there's a human element to it. I heard Coach of Mississippi State, I guess, had some words about it after the game on our point of view, like, play the game. And it just is what it is. Like, you just got to play, and you got to take care of business. And we got 6, like, really big, if you want to look at RPI games ahead of us. So the decision was made because you just talk to people in the game. And, again, you want to get dinged behind closed doors for a team that dropped you 3 points. Like, I think it could be a larger impact if you do that.
I know it's a much bigger question, and maybe you don't have the solution, but I'm sure you've got some ideas, because it's becoming more of an issue, whether you're in the conversation to be a national seed or a host, or even just on the bubble to get in as an at-large team. So what would you like to see be done to prevent these late season cancellations when there's no weather involved?
I think if they just come out and they're transparent about how they make these decisions, like if you're going to, I don't want to sit here and say, like, there might be a year I cancel. It might just be a completely different situation. I don't want to, pull out an old quote where I say, I just decided not to until we get it figured out. So I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. I think transparency by committees about if you do would be a starting point. Using other metrics besides RPI. And I know they're pushing it's the DSR. Is that what it's? D1 baseball has, which we're really high up there in that, which takes into account other things. So I think as you push other metrics, like if you look at that metric, we've been about, I think, top 5 all year, I saw. So I think that would be big too, like not just solely basing it on making RPI the biggest weight. Like, let's add in some other things. And I think that's what they're trying to do. So there's been ideas kicked around about letting each team drop their lowest 2. But they do that. Like, I think they look at it deeper than just what we see on paper. So I'm not sure how far off it is. They just need to be a little more, I don't even know who they is, transparent about, I think it's fine. I mean, we don't have a better system, I don't think. At least we have a system. So,
Coach, earlier, Richard talked about Hunter Bond. He retired all 10 guys that he faced. Just talk about how important it was for him. And also just a little bit of his story, because he's had to go through a lot of things this year.
Yeah, he had a couple like tough injuries, like tough to the point where there's a point I didn't think he was going to pitch this year, and I don't think he ever thought that, but maybe it creeped in a little bit. But he's worked super hard to get to where he's at. And he's a guy we thought could really help us. What that role was, we didn't know, but a left-handed pitcher that throws a lot of strikes and throws 3 pitches for strikes. But it was great to have him back out there. He's been out there, but to have that type of performance and like, okay, because he pitched well at Florida, And I think, he's going to have a role. And for him to get a little length right there, I think adds something to it. But just a great, you guys I'm sure haven't met him, but just an unbelievable kid in person and hard worker. And another guy, like a lot of them, but just lucky to have him on the team.
Tuesday was the first time I got to talk to him post-game, and really well spoken, talked about the injury battles he's had to deal with, and also really easy to root for a hometown kid.
Yeah.
So when he goes out and has that kind of performance, 3 1/3, retires all 10, what can that kind of outing do for him and his confidence as he finds his way in his first year at Division I baseball?
I hope it does a lot. Because he's had success in college, so him to continue. Sometimes it's like guys who hit in high school, they hit in college, they hit. Like he's been a good pitcher his entire life. So I hope he just kind of builds off that, and he has the confidence that he can throw, and he came out and he feels good, like he's healthy. So I think that's the biggest part. So and we're going to need him in a role. What that role is, not sure yet, but he's going to have another chance to have a moment.
Jake Dewar almost hits for the cycle, has a great game. Just talk about how important it was for him to have some of those kind of fall and have that kind of success.
Yeah, he's a guy that can get hits, and you want to see him get hits. He had a stretch where he wasn't, but his at-bats needed to get better. He was swinging too early in the count, chasing some pitches he wouldn't normally chase, which led to not being productive. And, I thought on Tuesday he did a better job of that. He actually did a good job of that on Sunday. He just hit some balls right at people. He kind of went in a little bit of a hole, but I think when you get 4 hits and almost hit for the cycle, I hope you're a little more confident rolling into the weekend.
Conflicting reports, too. He said he could have gotten to third easily. I know you said Tuesday night there was no chance he was going to be out by a mile. After seeing the film, could he have gotten to third there in the 8th?
Absolutely not. I don't even watch film. I saw it. I wouldn't have minded if he rolled and tried to go for it, but I think he would have been out by 19 feet.
And then another guy had a good Tuesday night, Wesley Jordan, got to see some balls fall in and one go over the fence. So what does that do for a guy like him? And then also just more depth off the bench from a guy.
Yeah, like it's another bat and a guy that I think can help us, and I've always believed can. I think I said it the other day. I think he hit maybe 4th the first couple games of the year, and then he got injured and then didn't get at bats. And it's just my problem is a little bit right now is you get 1 DH, right? I can't have a DH and EH like we did in spring training. So in order to get Wes in there more, like Chris is going to have to get the second. So I know that question's coming up, so he's just going to be day-to-day on when he'll get to play second base, just by how it starts to feel like it's a pretty painful deal. So, but yes, Wes can definitely help us off the bench, and I think he could really, really if he can be what I really think he can be, it could be just a shot in the arm right when you need it. But we got to get all the pieces to match up for it to work.
Going back to the caliber of opponent, you're down 4-0 to PV. Just talk about the importance of, regardless if it's a midweek game or whatnot, for you guys to, all right, this is what we got to do. And then you did it pretty immediate.
Yeah, I think our guys have done that all year. Just if you don't make it a thing, like you don't look at the score and you really just play pitch to pitch, like you can't try to score. You just have good at-bats. And Hunter came in and really slowed everything down. But I think our guys there's no panic, right? Like you're down 4-0. It doesn't matter who you're playing. You're down 4. So it's like you got to get on base and continue to swing at good pitches. And as a whole, they did that. When you look at what we did at the plate that day, it was what we wanted to be. Now, they gave us a lot of chances to do that, but at the same time, we did not chase out of the zone, and we controlled it fairly well.
Do you feel like you've done that for the most part this season?
For the most part, yes. Some of the games in the SEC, you kind of go back and forth just because of the competition level. Sure. But if you look at where we want to be from a swing percentage standpoint, a chase percentage standpoint, a whiff percentage standpoint as a team, we're really good. Now we just got to keep that at that elite level as competition picks up. And sometimes guys just throw a ton of strikes. So what I think is an ideal swing percentage can go out the window because if they're just filling it up, you can't just, you know what I mean? But it's just got to be your pitch.
Big news of the week around the league was they announced that ABS, the automated ball strike system's coming to the SEC tournament on an experimental basis in Hoover. You get to be part of these meetings behind the scenes. So how long has this been discussed as a possibility, and what are your thoughts on it finally being put into practice, at least on the experimental basis here in a couple weeks?
I hinted the other day that I might have some opinions on this. We met at the head coaches meeting. There's briefly talked about. We kind of knew it was coming. We actually have a Zoom on Tuesday to get more information. I don't want to. I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea. However, my opinion on it would be, I think it's good. I don't think there's let me say this. I don't think there's a great time or bad time to do. I just think you got to do it. So I understand that part. It's just our umpires and our hitters have been on TrackMan all year. So a TrackMan zone, it is what it is. So a strike and how they're graded, a strike on Blake Bender up at the bottom of the zone, the same pitch as a strike on Chestnut, or vice versa. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. Now with Hawkeye, they're actually going to measure the players I was reading before, which gives like their actual zone. So it's just going to be a different zone. It should be better for the players, but it's going to be a different zone for the umpires than they've been accustomed to all season. So, but I don't think there's a good time to do it. I just think if you want to look at one thing that's going to be, we've been on one zone the entire season, and now we're going to a different zone during the tournament. So if I had any, but I think we're all eventually going to get Hawkeye in our stadium, and that's what this is leading to. So I just think one of those things, you just got to rip the Band-Aid off and try it. And
it just seems like odd timing. I don't know if odd is the right word, but like, I don't know, right before.
There's really only
we don't have the minor leagues, right?
Yeah.
So like they just want to test stuff in the minor leagues. They just do it. They don't think anything of it. This is kind of our chance. So like I said, like you can have an opinion on it, but I don't know if there's a good or bad time. So we've been behind the scenes, like we've talked to 4 different hitting or offensive guys in the major leagues on strategy on how to use them. So I'm watching the Cubs and Reds last night, and there was a big call because they're going into the 9th. Cubs blow the game, then tie the game, but each team, Reds had 1, Cubs had 2, and it's like you got to make sure you have a strategic approach to how you use those challenges. And there's one team out there in the major leagues that said if you used a challenge like early in the game and you were wrong, everyone on the team got fined. So it's like a team approach to how you use them.
It's a controlled environment at the SEC tournament, and like you said, no other way to
that's our
test it.
chance. So I think it's the more I thought about it, I'm like, you just got to do it and see how it works out. So
it's a pretty drastic change how you manage the game and your approach to offense, I guess, because it's another thing for you as a manager to worry about. I know you can't be the one tapping your helmet, but you have to worry about the 3 challenges.
Yeah, I mean, you got it. We will come up with a system on how to use them. So if you're watching on TV, and I know everyone's excited about it, and it's the 2nd inning, and there's 2 outs, and there's nobody on, and it's 0-2, and anyone's up, but our 7, 8, 9, well, I guess our guys are pretty solid, but it's just like, and they punch out looking, like, just don't be screaming at the TV to challenge. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's got to be a strategic element to it. You don't want to get down in a big part of the game. You have bases loaded in the 6th, and there's 2 outs, and it's 3-2 count on Grahovic, and they punch him out. Like, you want to be able to use it then.
Yeah.
So there will be a strategic element to how you use these.
Not to keep it on this topic for too long, but I feel like those decisions will evolve too as more data points happen for you, the way you manage.
Yeah, I mean, the major league teams are just now doing it. Mm-hmm. So you want to identify what leverage situations are and use them in those situations. I think the biggest difference, though, major league players are so good. The umpires are, I mean, they're really, really good. There's not I don't think as many misses as what people might think. And in the major leagues, there's not as many leverage situations for the most part. College, those happen. It's just, college is not as good a player. So that's why the game's so great. Like there's mistakes, there's offense, there's all this. So it will be very interesting. But we're going to have a plan, and I guess just like ABS, we're trying it out too. So.
That's still a couple weeks away, and definitely don't want to distract from the main point, which is this weekend.
We went on that one.
Yeah, road trip to Oxford. Yeah. Another top 20 series. What have you seen from the Rebels this year?
Just a very physical team. Can really pitch. It's just, I mean, they're similar to a lot of these teams we've played. Like they can really, I mean, they got some guys that can hit the ball hard, far, competitive. Coach Bianco's teams always are, and some really good guys on the mound. So they got some octane in the bullpen. So it'll be another difficult challenge. Like they're similar to a lot of the SEC teams that are built on guys that can really slug, and then they want to strike you out and pitch well. So it's going to be tough, which is always a tough environment to play in Oxford. So once again, we'll have our hands full in our third road trip in 4 weeks.
I assume I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. You're still figuring out, but what the rotation will look like this weekend?
Yeah, we're still figuring out. We'll I think we announced it at 10 o'clock today.
It's not yet 10 o'clock.
I know.
Not yet.
And then while we're asking the questions, how's Nico doing? How's he progressed over the last couple of days?
He's doing fine, right? He's got he pulled his hamstring. Now I don't know if it helps that he wasn't running when he did it, but he's been hitting lightly, playing catch. He's fine with some high knee stuff. We just got to be smart and make sure we get him back at the right time because we're going to need him.
Coach Earley, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate you.
guys.
We'll hit a break here. We'll come back. A little more baseball on the other side right now. When it comes to your money and your peace of mind, it starts with the right team. That right team should be Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors. They're an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you. They have a team of 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, and their expertise does run deep at Paragon. Credentials matter, and so does your future. Visit paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. And we are back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio.
When are we doing the UFO episode?
I mean, I've been doing a UFO update every show, or UAP is like we like to call it in the industry.
There's going to be a time where there's nothing going on, and we do an entire episode on UFOs.
As long as we can use the Art Bell music, I'm good. I know doesn't mean anything to you, but to older folks, it means something too.
Okay.
Anyway, should we transition to out of the ballpark home runs?
Sure. A
very identified baseball leaving the yard.
Okay.
Okay, sorry,
Sure.
old man jokes. What do we think about this Ole Miss series?
It's going to be another tough one. It always is in the SEC, right? They've got two really good starting pitchers at the top of their rotation. Their offense is really, as Michael Earley said, physical. They can hit the ball a long way. And then also it's going to be what I believe to be your first true test inside a hostile environment, because you got to see how docile it was at Alex Box Stadium a few weeks back. And then Florida's fan base isn't exactly rowdy. That ballpark wasn't exactly packed when A&M went on the road and took the last two games of that series in Gainesville. So A&M, as they always do in the Southeastern Conference, is going to have its hands full. You're going to need better starting pitching than what you got against Auburn. I think everybody knows that. And then the offense was kind of held in check by three really, really good starters from Butch Thompson's club. I'm interested to see how they bounce back. But of course, that really that relies on who's available and who's not. Yeah. Coach talked about it just a moment ago. It sounds like Chris Akopian's still good to do DH things. Whether or not he can move laterally and play defense remains a big question.
Nico too.
Nico Partita, I'm not sure if he's going to be in the lineup. I'm not sure if I would put him in the lineup at this point, because your A&M's going to play for bigger and better things. But I do know that shortens your lineup significantly and takes some offensive firepower out of the lineup. So interesting decisions that I wish, personally, Coach Earley didn't have to make this weekend.
So in about 37 minutes, what do you think is going to be the rotation?
Well, 37 minutes is interesting because the SEC won't send it out till later, but I really don't know. There's an argument to be made for shifting Sims up to Friday and having Weston going on Saturday and leaving TBA on Sunday. There's also an argument to be made to leave Shane Sadeo in the Friday spot. The law of averages, eventually Shane Sadeo is going to have a pretty big impact on a weekend, whether it be last two of the regular season or somewhere in the postseason. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like, and that's a little bit exciting, but I'm sure anxiety-inducing as well.
Do you have a preference?
No, I don't.
No.
I really don't.
Because in my mind, and I could be talked out of it, by the way. In my mind, I like Aiden Sims on the Saturday.
I do too.
But then I liked him in the Sunday role. So it's so weird. Like, I really like him on Sundays. Right?
I like Aiden Sims whenever he takes the ball at this point. Like, he is proven to be your top starting pitcher so far this season. So
but your top pitcher on a game either to even the series or win the series, I kind of like that.
I like that too. And I personally, I hope that's what they keep it. I don't think you can shift Weston Moss all the way to Friday. That's 2 days shorter of a rest. That's a big deal at the college level, not so much the major league level. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Do you use Gavin Lyons as an opener? I don't want to see Gavin Lyons as a fully stretched out starting pitcher because he's got so much value in impacting multiple games on a weekend.
I agree with you there.
So does he go one time through, maybe get 3 innings on Friday, and then you turn the ball over to Shane Sadeo for the bulk on Friday? I don't know what the answer is, but I do know I like Gavin Lyons impacting the ball games twice on a weekend, and I just don't know. There's not a whole lot of options because the guys are the guys. It's not like you can go pick somebody up at the deadline or trade for somebody or sign a free agent. You can't do that. So the guys you have on this roster are the guys, and eventually they're going to have to step up.
So in that scenario, though, Gavin Lyons goes his first 3 innings, okay? And Shane goes hopefully 4, right? At that point, do you just finish it out with Clayton? Is that kind of, or do you need one guy in between?
I mean, if you get 3 from Gavin Lyons and then 4 from Shane Sadeo and then 2 from Clayton Freshcorn, it sounds like Clayton Freshcorn's getting his 12th save of the year.
But Shane...
That's perfect to me.
How much is Shane averaging? Is he like 4 1/3 or 3 1/3?
Whatever those averages are, it's not going to be helped by getting 3 outs last weekend.
Yeah.
He'd been okay against who did they play before LSU and then the trip to Baton Rouge? It was Vanderbilt. Even though he gave up a few home runs, and then Georgia, the start was really weird where he gave up 7 runs but punched out 11 in 5 innings. Like, it's just been up and down pretty much all year from him. He can give you length. The length is not as important as preventing runs, and when Shane's been unlucky, the ball's been leaving the ballpark or it's been leading to runs. Right? He gave up 6 hits. I can't remember how many on Friday, but he didn't get an out. He gave up 6 runs. I think it was 6 runs on 4 hits in the second inning.
I said this to Kendall yesterday, like, when the question is of how sustainable is this approach, it's extremely sustainable because we're at the end of the season. We're in the last, 2 series of the year. So it is sustainable. Now, what does the ceiling look like? That's a different conversation.
Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, I don't know. Auburn, to me, and Bronny and I were talking about this on the B team, Auburn has the looks of a team that can win a national championship. But can you win a national championship without having superstars in your offense? Because Auburn doesn't have a Gavin Grahovac or a Caden Sorrell in their offense. But they've got 3 really good starting pitching and 3 really good starting pitchers and a 1 through 9 deep offense. So can they win the national championship? In my mind, absolutely. But they lack the firepower that you've seen from teams like Tennessee and the last couple LSU teams and even that Mississippi State team that won the national championship. In 2022, Ole Miss had Tim Elko as the biggest name on their club, but he's more of like a local legend. He was playing on one leg. I didn't think he was a superstar that was going to go, top round and be a future big leaguer. You can win. You can find ways to win the national championship without having the superstars, which, back to your question, I think A&M could potentially find a way to make a deep run and challenge despite the pitching not being what you would expect or want it to be. A&M's second best team of all time, at least in terms of how deep they went into the College World Series, was a 2022 team that had Micah Dallas and Nathan Detmer, who were inconsistent for much of the year, and then they had Jacob Palish at the back end of the bullpen.
Yep.
Is it sustainable? That tells me it is. But you're still going to have to get elite performances from the guys each time they step out there.
Remind me, where did we have more questions pitching-wise at this point?
I think it was 2022.
More than this?
Oh, yeah, because Micah Dallas was...
He was good and bad.
No, he was not very good until the SEC tournament. Remember that?
Right.
And Nathan Detmer
I'm saying all season long, though.
Nathan Detmer was very up and down throughout the entire season. So there are more questions about that club. I think they might even had fewer reliable arms in the bullpen, although Jacob Palish was so good, and Will Johnson was pretty solid, Mo Menifee as well. Brad Rudis is a true freshman. Like, they had guys on that team, but I still had more questions about that pitching staff than this one.
But you know what the benefit of that team had that this one doesn't was that was a brand new season, a new regime, and everything felt like gravy.
Well, you know what the benefit this team has that that one doesn't is one of the best offenses in school history, and the 3 starting pitchers they've been rolling out there each day or each weekend, and Sadeo, Sims, and Moss, while the results have been up and down, the stuff is still way better than the starting pitching was giving you in 2022.
All right, and your math is you go you got 6 games left, so 3-3.
If you go 3-3, I think you're a lay down top 8 national seed. If you go 2-4, I think you're still hosting. If you go 4-2, like that's like no doubt. Like you don't even need to sweat come Memorial Day.
Cool. Let's go 6-0.
Yeah, let's do that because if you go 6-0, you might win the SEC.
Yeah, thank you, Rich. Appreciate you. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back. Aaron Torres, I'm sure we'll argue about something. Right now, when it comes to preserving your farm or your ranch's legacy, it starts with the right team capturing that story and sharing it for the future generations, and that's what Heritage Films does. Chance McClain is a wizard at telling people stories. He'll do these documentaries, and you're going to feel like you're best friends with him because he gets to know you and your family, and you'll actually develop a great relationship with him. He does these 2-hour documentaries for family businesses, family ranches, and just family stories. Let him tell your family story. Let him be an eye in the sky at a great family event, and you will not regret it because you're not promised tomorrow. You want these stories captured for the future generations. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, or call them up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It is Heritage Films. Hey everyone, David Nuño here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar. I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst.
Howdy, Ags. This is Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed, and you're listening to TexAgs Live on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
More production value here on TexAgs Live. It's time for Around College Athletics, brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve community with a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. All right, let's go to the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. We're joined by our buddy AT, Aaron Torres from Aaron Torres Online and Fox Sports Radio. AT, what up, buddy?
Nuño, what's going on, buddy? Happy Thursday. How are you?
I'm good. I want to thank you for helping me program my show earlier this week. I want to kind of go back to a text message that you gave me, I don't know, maybe Thursday or Friday of last week when Kirby was on I think it was on the Next Round Live show, and he basically had my back. And you said, hey, man, remember that argument we had a couple of months back? It looks like Kirby's on the same page as you as the gauntlet that is the SEC.
Yeah, he clearly is a listener of TexAgs, maybe on a daily basis. Listen, I think, and I sincerely mean this, like whenever, first of all, any coach that does any media availability this time of year, you better believe old Torres is going to find something out of it, because there's just, it's a really slow time, and especially for those of us, and I joke about being a college baseball guy, but I don't really know what I'm talking about as far as that's concerned. So no, it was an interesting thing, and for people who didn't see it or didn't hear your segment earlier in the week, it was one of these golf tournaments where all these coaches show up and a bunch of media people get 2, 3, 4 minutes with them, and I thought Kirby was really transparent. I think he did acknowledge some things that we've talked about in both directions of, but his Alabama teams headed by Nick Saban from the probably mid 2010s were significantly better than the teams at the top of the SEC now. And I think that's interesting for him to say, considering he is the coach of the 2-time reigning SEC champion. But then he also did acknowledge, like, hey, the question was really, why is the Big Ten having the success that it is? And there was the conversation about money, but then it was also, hey, part of it is, they get 2 or 3 weeks where they can just kind of show up and probably not play their best football and win. And, my quote unquote easy games are Starkville at 11 a.m. Central Time with 65,000 cowbells in my ear. So I thought it was an interesting conversation. And I will say this, Nuño. I think it was the first time that I heard somebody acknowledge, hey, the Big Ten in some way, shape, or form has caught up. I think even coming out of last offseason, you could say, well, it's Michigan had a good run, but Harbaugh's gone. Ohio State, well, they just paid for that big roster. That's not a sustainable thing year over year. And I think that was the first time I really heard somebody from the SEC acknowledge, like, hey, these guys up north aren't going anywhere. Now we got to figure out why they're having success, and is it in any way replicable with what we do?
How much do you think is the television contracts that the Big Ten has, which is, look, I know per school it doesn't look like that much more money than what the SEC is making, but over the long haul, significantly much more money than the SEC is making.
I think that's a little bit overrated, because look, and Kirby mentioned it, Miami was pretty darn good last year. Notre Dame, who obviously is not hurting for TV money, is not in the Big Ten. I think what it really is that, I think the world's flat, and I'll give you a good example. I mean, A&M football recruiting better than I do, but if I'm understanding correctly, you guys have crushed recruiting out here in California, which has normally been a USC hotbed, right? But now Georgia gets guys from Texas. Now Texas gets guys from North Carolina, whatever. And so I think just the talent has flattened out more than anything else. And you don't have to be, and that was one thing that Kirby did say as well, is like, the SEC just used to funnel talent into the league. And I think part of it was just the geography of it all made sense. And so I think there's a lot of variables. I think the other thing too that I actually think doesn't get discussed enough. I mean, the Big Ten just added 3 really, really, really good programs that I think have elevated the middle of that league. Oregon at the top, but then USC and Washington at the middle. I know that the SEC has added 2 teams as well. But I don't think you can understate the fact that 2 college football playoffs, Oregon has been back-to-back years. USC, for all the arguments, is coming off a 9-3, 9-4 with the bowl game season. But that was a 9-win team. Washington was a 9-10 win team a year ago. There's just better teams. And again, I do think it elevates the middle of the league. Now, to the point that you've been making for months, and I do tend to agree with, the bottom of the league in the Big Ten is still pretty bad when you get to the Rutgers, Maryland-type programs of the world.
All right, so one of the other things that Kirby talked about, and I don't know if he was agreeing or he was just saying that's what people say, that the Big Ten has better coaches. Do you agree with that?
It's a great question. I think it's hard to argue that they do. I think it's hard to argue that the Big Ten doesn't. How am I saying this? Yes, the Big Ten has better coaches. How about I just stop tripping over my words and just say it bluntly? I mean, listen, Kurt Cignetti, national champion, Ryan Day. I think a lot of people could do what Ryan Day does at Ohio State, but he has the hardware to back it up. You go through the list of other teams, other coaches, other whatever, and, Dan Lanning, back-to-back Big Ten championships. And then I think what I guess I would say is certainly a lot more established coaches, I think, in the middle. And again, you go back to the middle of the league. Lincoln Riley, for all his faults, multiple playoff appearances. Jed Fish, 9-win season at freaking Arizona before he ended up at Washington. You go on and on down. Matt Rule, listen, the Matt Rule era hasn't worked out how I thought it would. I thought it would be further along. You can't question the guy's bona fides, though. He was a game away from the college football playoff when he was at freaking Baylor. So I think that, to me, is probably it more than anything, is that, again, I think the SEC, listen, I think in 10 years, Mike Elko could be, a universal top 5 coach. He just hasn't necessarily gotten there yet. We all know Kirby's established, but, like what is the national perception of Sark? What is the national perception of Lane Kiffin of, okay, now, 11-1 is the expectation. It's not a reason to build you a statue. DeBoer obviously has a lot of questions. So, yeah, I just think there's probably more established guys, middle of that league, and I think at the top, the resumes speak for themselves.
Well, I don't disagree per se, but I still think the middle of the SEC, if you consider Drink in the middle, if you consider Clark Lee at Vanderbilt in the middle, I still, and Josh Heupel, who's made the playoffs. So I agree the top part of it. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the middle part, but it's not far off, I guess we're kind of agreeing in just different ways.
Let me ask you a question, because I've never really thought of this, but I think, I have, but I've never really talked it out, and I think, you might have a little bit of bias in this. What do we think of Steve Sarkisian? Because he has certainly elevated Texas, but we also acknowledge that he has resources that maybe one or two other people in America have. And I kind of said it with Ryan Day. I remember the year that Ryan Day lost to Michigan for the 4th straight time, but did end up winning the national championship. And I said, listen, man, I'm not trying to trash Ryan Day, but at the time, he had a $20 million roster, which at the time was the tops in college football. And he had 2 $2 million coordinators, which at the time was unheard of. That's obviously changed in 24 months since then. But I kind of feel the same with Steve Sarkisian. And so I want to say I feel bad for him, but it is kind of okay, to whom much is given, much is expected. And it's kind of if he wins, he's supposed to win. If he doesn't, he's a bum. And I don't really know how I feel, because I do think given what he has been given, the expectation should be essentially playoff every year, essentially competing at the highest level of college football every single year with no drop-off.
I'm going to answer in a weird way. I'm going to give you multiple answers, AT. I think the fact that he has made it to 2 Final Fours in his tenure at Texas after them having a significant drought puts him at the very top of the SEC. Maybe not 1, but in the top 3, 4, right? I think he deserves that credit. But here's where my bias comes in. And it kind of goes back to the resources thing you were talking about. I think that he got to inflate his resume his last couple years in the Big 12 with a Big 12 schedule, and he took advantage of that. So credit to him for getting it done. His first 2 years at Texas, didn't he go 12-12, I think? 5-7 year one, 7-5. So it was trending better, but it wasn't dynamic. It wasn't what Kalen DeBoer did in year one. It's not what Coach Elko did in year one. But the fact that he's made it to the final, 4 teams twice in his tenure at Texas, and the fact that last year was considered a down year and they won 10 games, I think he's got to be in the conversation as one of the elite coaches. I think this year will paint a completely different picture. Either he's arrived or more than arrived, or he's a pretender. And Ryan Day had to deal with that for a long time. Ryan Day, until he won the national championship, was like, he's benefiting with all these resources, but is he winning anything of substance? Well, he ended up winning. So I think Sark is kind of in that same vein.
No, I think there's no doubt, and I do think part of it, he got to kind of build the thing in the Big 12. You do have to give him credit. Year one goes to the SEC championship game. Now, admittedly, that schedule was like comical that first year, but anyway, neither here nor there. I don't know that I really have a strong opinion, and I do think, like, in hindsight, last year, I know they were preseason number 1 or number 2. I forget if it was them or Ohio State. I know it was 1 versus 2 on opening day, but I get it, but I also do think they probably were a year away in hindsight. Arch first-year starter, a lot of the defense was young. This year, though, man, listen, it's not only college football playoff or bust. I mean, I think you got to win games there. And I think as we transition into this new era of college sports and, who knows what the college football playoff will look like. Obviously, I think last week we talked about NCAA tournament expansion. I think that's going to be an interesting byproduct is, first of all, all these coaches want to expand the playoff to protect themselves. Okay, Ryan Day, get into the playoff as a 9-3, 18 seed in 2029. Let's see how safe your job is. And I'm just using that as a hypothetical. But, no, I think it's interesting because I think Texas is now kind of in that rarefied air is not the right way to put it, but it's kind of playoff or bust essentially every year. Is like we know even in a 12-team format, the SEC is going to get 4 bids, and it's like it's really hard to see the world where Texas shouldn't be in that conversation every year. Again, I know this is Aggie radio, and it's people are going to perceive this however they want to perceive it, but it's interesting, and I think specifically this offseason because we know that they kind of went all in with Cam Coleman, the portal class, things like that.
Yeah, but I think everybody's trying to go all in, right? Like at the end of the day, A&M's going all in with what their budget is. Texas is. Indiana certainly is trying to repeat what they did a year ago. So and that's why the playoffs are going to, at some point, look very similar every year. It's going to be for the most part, the team spending the most money that know how to pick the right players.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I don't think the playoffs will look alike because now everybody has the same resources. But I do think it's how you allocate resources, and listen, LSU, one of their personnel guys, we have this advanced formula. Okay, let's win something of consequence before we get too excited. It reminds me of the Golden State Warriors when Kevin Durant, we're light years ahead of everyone. No, you had a 70-win team and then you added Kevin Durant. That's why you won however many NBA championships. And I do think the next iteration of college sports, and I talk to people about this all the time, Nuño. I don't know if these are conversations that you have, but like I know that I talk to people all the time. Is like I think these front offices are only getting bigger. I think to the point that you brought up. Okay, cool. Everyone's got a baseline of money, whatever that ends up being. How do you spend it? And I think even 2 years ago it was kind of just give this guy what he wants, give that guy what he wants, and now. Even 2 years later, it's, we don't spend more than this much money on this much position. We don't spend this much on that. And it's a fascinating new world. I tend to like most elements of it better. Now, I do worry, obviously, about a 2014 playoff and how that would impact the sport as a whole. But, I find all these conversations fascinating, and I know it's a conversation that you and I have had is a lot of the stuff that I talk about, these are things that we didn't have to talk about 5-6 years ago, whether it's portal cycles, front office moves, things like that. And I find it all very fascinating.
AT, got to hit a break, brother. Thanks so much for your time.
We'll do it again next week, man. Thank you. Have a great week.
You too, bud. Aaron Torres on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll have a very short segment on the other side. Brazos Running Company, located at Century Square. They're locally Aggie-owned specialty running store with an outstanding selection of great running shoes. They've got them all, from Brooks to On the Hoka. You name it, they got it out there. And if you're a runner or you're interested in fitness at all, the right shoe makes all the difference in the world. And at the Brazos Running Company, they're going to find that right shoe for you. They're going to help you find the exact shoe. Like sometimes people just buy shoes. Oh, I like the way it looks. Yeah, you can do that still, but let's get the right shoe so your fitness goals mirror the success that you're aiming for. They've got Duck Camp there. They've got Viore. They got Turtle Box. They got Stanley Cups. It is the Brazos Running Company located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill, the Brazos Running Company. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Carson Stein, we've got about 2 minutes. What are you going to tell me?
I just wanted to get your reaction. I know you texted him, but what are you thinking about Johnny Boxer, Manziel making his boxing debut?
So, okay, what is it? Tell me the particulars about this. I love the idea. He's probably going to be a really good boxer. Who's he fighting? Like, where did this come from? Is this like a Barstool event? What is it?
I went to sleep last night, woke up to this notification. So he's going to be boxing social media influencer Bob Menery.
Who's Bob Menery?
I couldn't tell you. Not on that side of social media.
Nigrin, you know, come on, I could tell.
He made some like interesting content, kind of like what John Boy Media does for like baseball, except his had a lot more colorful language in it.
Bob Menery?
I don't know what he's doing these days.
I've never heard of this guy. Is he? Can he fight? Do we know?
Don't know, but the fight's going to be promoted by Aiden Ross.
It's also being
he's
sponsored
jacked.
by one of those.
Is
like,
this dude? I just went to his Instagram. He's jacked. This is not going to be good for Johnny. Well, it doesn't mean you can fight if you're jacked. Interesting. Yeah, Saturday, May 2026. It doesn't have what day is it? Is it this weekend? That doesn't give him a lot of time to prepare for this fight.
That's how most fights should be.
I am looking at this ad. It says Saturday, May 2026. It doesn't have a date though. In Miami, Florida. I'd like a date. How about that? Bob Menery, former D1 wrestler. It's over. Oh no.
They're not wrestling, they're boxing.
Oh, this is true. But I don't know. Come on, Johnny. I'm a little worried about it, just based on Instagram pictures and boxing resume.
I think Johnny's got it. We'll take Johnny in 4.
I don't even know who this Menery guy is, though. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with the fan show. That's a good cup of coffee, huh?
I can smell it.
And you predicted it.
I didn't get to drink it, but
but you told me which brand it was.
Yeah, I know. It's not brand. It's just it's the Texas Pecan.
Texas Pecan from HEB.
HEB's Texas Pecans for ground coffee is pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we call this show the
Fan Show.
That wasn't your best performance.
Everyone's favorite. Hey, by the way, Yesterday, I'm listening to the ending of your show, and you're like rolling out the lineup for today.
Yeah.
He was rolling out the lineup. He's like, "Hey, we got this. We got Aaron Torres, and then sorry, but we got the fan show." That's what he said.
I do that every Wednesday.
It's his
Just
shtick.
about every week, yeah.
Every Wednesday.
I think our show's pretty.
Sometimes you have to apologize for us.
I do want to say this.
It's pretty
For somebody
entertaining.
who doesn't like the fan show, I'm the only one who extended the fan show year round.
It's true.
Let's be honest, okay? So as much as I hate you
This is the
guys,
worst 30 to 60 minutes. Like, this is the worst 30 minutes.
it kind of depends on the day, right?
Oh, that's not
Hey,
true.
can we do an hour? Sure. Oh, I got somebody better. You guys can only do a segment.
Yeah, hey, don't kid yourself. When we sit down in here, he enjoys it because it's like it just kind of takes care of itself.
Well, we do have a very hard question to start the day with.
Well, I think the reality is you love us because we're flexible, though, right? Because today we're in the 10 to 10:30 slot because you have Braden Shewmake coming up,
which is a big deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
awesome deal.
But we were nice enough to be like, yeah, we can do 10.
Yeah, or I could just cancel the show outright. But I think you guys are stars now.
It would be up in arms.
You wouldn't do it. Hey,
you would lose probably.
TexAgs would revolt.
Right now.
You'd lose like 6 people.
Right now, I want the people to text 979-693-1150. Do we love these guys, or do we change the station?
730th caller gets a signed photograph of the fan show.
Of Big Show, the wrestler?
The fan show.
Oh, the fan show. Oh, okay. Yeah, 750th caller. I don't think we have 750 listeners
That's
right
why
now.
I said it there.
We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Carson Stein, your long-lost friend that you've never met before, apparently. You get the first question.
Okay, so I know they talked about this on the B team yesterday, but I wanted to get your opinion on this. Brian Kelly going back to Notre Dame to visit Marcus Freeman and Mike Denbrock.
He failed already. He completely failed the test.
Strike one.
It's all right. You know what? I like a specific question. Roy, go ahead.
Did you even listen?
No, I didn't hear him.
The first question, Carson, what's on your mind?
That is on my mind.
No, what's on their mind?
Oh, what's on your mind?
But hey, I'm glad that's on your mind.
You're already completely off the rails.
I'm going to let Browning lose it. I'll go ahead and answer what's on
No, I
my
want
mind.
to hear his thoughts on Brian Kelly.
We're already completely off the rails here.
It's a fan show.
Oh, wait, Brian Kelly, whatever. I forgot he existed, so.
Oh, yeah, him going back to Notre Dame is like just zero news. I don't care. I don't know why it's a news story.
Care less what happens to that guy.
Yeah. And Notre Dame.
Yeah, honestly, to be honest with you, that's not true. I wish that. I remember when we were in the stands in Baton Rouge, when all the Aggies up there were chanting "Fire Brian Kelly." I was like, no, don't
keep him
fire
here as long as possible.
Keep this dude here.
Yeah.
I mean, LSU's an absolute juggernaut if they got a good coach.
It's the same concept as like chanting overrated. Like if they're overrated, then
we just beat an overrated team.
Like, how quality was that?
Kind of dumb.
Well, I actually I prefer going to Notre Dame than LSU though. Like that was a fun trip. A, they won. B, I think I just like Notre Dame better than LSU.
Yeah.
Well, if he's gonna, I dislike them less is a better way to put it.
Yeah.
But I like if he for some reason is going to end up in a coaching capacity or analyst capacity, I'd rather it be at Notre Dame because first of all, Notre Dame's going to make the playoffs every year. I don't think it even matters what their record is, especially if we're going to 24 teams. Like they have the caveat in that says, "Hey, if we're decent, we get to come play." And
I want that. I want that too.
Yeah, but Notre Dame's the only school that's ever going to get that because they refuse. Yeah, it's
they didn't get it last year. Huh? They didn't get it last year.
Yeah, but they're changing the rules again though.
Yeah, so they asked the NCAA to change the rules. Yeah, so here we are.
Yeah.
All right, Browning, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind?
You get to go first.
Oh no, this is fun. This is fun. All right, so
hold on, let me check the text if anybody likes the show. Hold on, let me just check.
Let's take
a whole lot of love.
Oh, I love this group.
Hey,
okay, he said.
I'm telling you, people like us, man.
Y'all hold Dave up. Okay. And this guy's never texted the show. Block. Ray in College Station. Keep them. They actually help your show, David. Wow.
Thanks, Ray. Ray, you're a good guy.
And let's say, love them. Love them. Hate them. Matt and Bart. No, he says love them. Love them. LOL. Love the fan show. You got 9 people who love the show.
I'll tell you what, not one person's been negative yet. Thank y'all.
Only 741 again.
Let me go to the block list because maybe somebody will tell me there. No, nobody's hated you yet.
Nobody hates us. So, what's on my mind? Obviously, what's on my mind right now is baseball. Rough weekend. I mean, I think I think going into it, and I'm going to give Roy credit. Roy has been pretty well dialed in every week on baseball. I got to give him some credit. So, you went into this one like with your guard up. You knew, like we talked about that pitching That pitching staff.
Roy Stradamus. You've been pretty right the last 4 weeks.
He was. I mean, now
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah, I mean, that pitching was really good. I mean, and look, Friday got away from us pretty quick. That was ugly.
Disaster.
But, I mean, to battle back Saturday and and then of course, thank goodness pulling out Sunday. Not getting swept at home. That was a huge win at the end of the day. That Sunday win. Winning that game and because that perception goes into it. I mean, like when people are at the end of the season talking about A&M season, they're going to remember A&M swept Texas. They're not going to remember that Texas that third game got canceled, right? All they're going to think is A&M swept Texas. When you get into that conversation at the end of the year and they go, "Oh, Auburn swept A&M," they don't say, "Okay, yeah, Auburn won the series," but the sweep sounds a lot worse. I think that gets into the mind of the people making the decisions, especially with seeding and whatnot. So I think that winning on Sunday was big. It was a rough weekend, but again, the bats got hot again. Tuesday night. I know it's Prairie View, but still, hopefully that will carry on into Oxford this weekend. So.
Well, I think what Kendall brought up the other day, was it yesterday or the day before? I can't remember when.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah. I think he brought up, I think we found out more about Auburn as opposed to A&M being exposed. We found out that Auburn really is worthy of where they're ranked. Right?
They're good.
Auburn's a good club.
They're a real good ball team.
So, yeah, I thought that was big. But what's on my mind? A couple of things. One, I'm going to drop a shameless plug here. My wife works at Brazos Valley Flight Services. They're having an open house from noon to 3 on Saturday. And your entrance admission is a canned good. So the American Legion, Agland Post 1938, is running a food drive basically for this. So you can tour the facilities. They're going to have a raffle. Your kids can have they're going to have a coloring contest and scavenger hunt, all this fun stuff. But it's basically a just kind of pick up food drive for the American Legion Post in College Station. So if you can make it out there, you want to go see some planes and tour the facilities. But it's the storm before the calm. It's graduation weekend, and then everybody leaves for 3 months, right?
Which is kind of fun for traffic reasons.
Our favorite time of the year.
All of us get to go try out all the new restaurants and all these other places.
There's no wait. Let's go.
Now, I will say, remember that if you like to speed when you drive, now the ratio of cops to you has changed
significantly.
Or just drive the speed limit. Just be a good citizen. Just throw that out there. But yeah, baseball is obviously on my mind. Like I said, I liked what Kendall said about I think we did find out that Auburn it is worthy of where they're at in the polls, and who they are as a club. But big 2 weekends coming up, right? Big 2 weekends. You got the two Mississippis. You can't get swept in either of them. If you win both series, then I don't think it matters.
You're a national seed, baby.
It doesn't matter what you do in Hoover.
Yeah.
I don't care if you bomb out the first game, right? But you've got to at least pick up one of these two series. Mississippi State, even though obviously ranked higher than Ole Miss, better club than Ole Miss, you get them at home to end the season. So, you have that. I don't want to say it's a backstop, but it feels like a backstop because you're able to be back at Olson, right, with 12th man and 203. So go to Oxford. Don't get swept, right? I think they have a great opportunity to win the series, quite frankly. I think even though we lost the series against Auburn, I think that's a battle test moment against a club that I think is probably better than a lot of people perceived.
Yeah.
So big weekend, and then Selection Sunday coming up. Be interested to see where softball lands. That was kind of a
that was a hard one yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, that was a tough one yesterday afternoon against Auburn.
Well, you know what?
Freaking Auburn.
Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but I thought they showed some resilience coming back and making it a game, and then having a chance late. It just didn't get it done.
It just at the end you didn't get it done. So unfortunately now you're leaving it in the committee's hands, which I think we've shown that no matter the sport, we don't like that.
So this baseball team, how much faith do we have that they are going to be a national seed? Do you feel good about? Because I look back at this Auburn series and I'm like, they got their butts kicked game one, but it was an SEC series after that.
But that's baseball, right?
Yeah.
And that phrase gets used a million times, and Bronny probably says it 30 times a week. But it's true. Games like Friday happen. It's just baseball. Sometimes you roll up on the back side of the box, man. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, baseball is such a quirky sport. I mean, when you go into looking at any sport the way we look at football or basketball or something, I mean, the best team typically will win, right? I mean, will most of the time win, right? I mean, there's the occasional upset, but baseball is quirky.
I mean, that's why they have to play. That's why the MLB plays 162 games to find out who the best teams are, right? I mean, because on any given day, the worst team in Major League Baseball can beat the number one team in baseball. I mean, record-wise,
sweep
right?
them.
Yeah, they can sweep them over the weekend. It's because it's such a quirky game. But I mean, and I'll be honest with you, the Prairie View game, the bats got hot, but I mean, we still gave up 7 runs to Prairie View, right? So you look at it and you go, I mean, what is the telltale?
But who's pitching in that game?
Right, I get it, but still, even your 4th or 5th guy against a Prairie View team, you know, you would hope that would be better. But I think we.
But how about the Hunter Bond story? He comes in and just mows them down.
Yeah.
He retired all 10 batters. I mean, it gives you a little I know he's pitched a little bit this year, but it gives you a little confidence of like, hey, we do have some other options that sometimes we don't think about
There's
first.
maybe a little bit more depth than
we've got some added arms in the bullpen. But I mean, I don't know. I think we know our warts. I think that's been pretty evident this year. But
you like using that phrase.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice phrase. Okay?
I'm not a fan of warts.
I don't like them. I mean, I wish we didn't have any. I wish
nobody had a wart.
I wish we had nothing but phenomenal.
Ever
pitching.
shake a hand of a dude with a wart? Terrible situation.
It's
the worst.
Okay.
I do that for Roy to make Roy make that face.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm trying. Okay. No. All right. Not even remember what I was talking about. Baseball.
When is Braden Shewmake up?
Hey, baseball. Baseball's fun. I like baseball.
They want me to lead the fan show. They want you guys to host now.
Yeah. Hey, me and Roy got it.
Hey, I do want to stay on baseball, but I'm going to read because you guys have gotten a lot of love. Like it's almost gross. It's Durham Doc loved this show. But here's one from Teresa.
Everybody loves Durham Doc.
No, is it Teresa? No, Teresa's a premium subscriber. I already read hers. Here's the one I want to read you. This is, hey, I love the fan show. What do you guys think about the football schedule? Do you think what do you think about the offensive line next year?
Oh, well, that's 2 separate questions. For
Yeah, those are 2 very different questions.
So the schedule is obviously being perceived as on the easier side, right? Your first away games the end of September.
Oh, wait. Did you say the schedule's on the easier side?
Some people are saying.
Oh, okay.
No. Some people are saying that. And yeah, I mean, you open up with 3 straight at home. Like you like that you get your SEC opener at home. You like that it's Kentucky. No offense, but it's Kentucky. Like they're already. It's September 19th. They're already thinking about basketball, man. Like they're already dialed out. But I kind of like where the Citadel sits in the schedule. And having an open date after Alabama, but again, it's at Bama, it's open, it's at South Carolina. So from October 17th to November 14th, yet again, we've got a month away from Kyle, which I never liked that. You do get the SIPs at home.
I mean, dude, I'm looking at this thing going, okay, depending on what South Carolina does, but you've got 5 road games, right? 4, possibly 5 if South Carolina's decent against what will probably more than likely be ranked opponents. Then you've got ranked opponents of Tennessee and Texas coming here.
And Missouri's always weird, right?
Yeah, Missouri's a weird one.
Going on the road to Missouri is just always a weird game.
I promise you, Missouri will be ranked. By the time we hit them, Missouri will be ranked. LSU's going to be ranked, even though they weren't very good last year. But the Lane Kiffin effect will have them ranked on the road.
They're a completely different roster too.
Yeah, it's a completely different roster. Oklahoma's been very good. Bama's Bama. I mean. Not the Bama, not the old Bama, but
a good Bama.
I mean, they're okay, yeah. So I mean, that's a very difficult schedule. And then,
I'm sorry, anytime you go to Tuscaloosa and Baton Rouge, and you host Texas, right?
And I hate to say it, and Norman. I mean, Norman was a bit of a house of horrors for us back in the old days. So that's an incredibly difficult schedule. Number one, and to answer your question, our success in those games will depend on his second question, the offensive line. I genuinely think that. I think that with Elko's sustained success on the defensive end of the ball, defensive side of the ball, I think our defense will be above average or really, really good.
Right.
Like they've always been. The question will be, how does our offensive line perform and how does our quarterback perform? I think that's the key to the whole season. I think our skill position, our running back room is amazing. I think our receiver group might be the best we've ever had, possibly. But it'll all boil down to the offensive line and how does Marcel play?
Well, here's the question though: if you're gonna put all your faith in Elko because he's a proven commodity, then shouldn't you place maybe not the exact same amount of faith, but pretty close in what Cushing has done?
Oh yeah.
That's the thing.
My only holdup on the offensive line is building chemistry. That's it. Like, and I just think offensive lines take time to gel. That's my only holdup.
But here's the other thing, though. You look at that schedule and you go, all right, well, what if the following players suck? South Carolina, Missouri, I'm pretty sure Kentucky's going to. Like, Tennessee has a down year. What if OU sucks? Like, all of a sudden, that schedule looks really easy, right? Because we never
That's
know.
what happened last year to A&M,
we
right?
thought that the schedule last year was going to be a gauntlet.
I still think it was. That's just me.
It still was, but it wasn't to the extent that we assumed it would be preseason. So, again, like, what if the Lane Kiffin project takes 6 games on their schedule to get going? All right, well, we get them in the 4th game, right? So, what if LSU isn't as daunting, right?
Right.
So again, looking at the schedule, it's tough to say one way or the other because we're basing it off of brand and history.
Yeah, to me, I've said this 1,000 times. I probably said it this week on the show. The schedule to me is always about when you play teams, not when it was after the season, because teams do take a different path after injuries, after a bad loss. We ended LSU's season, right? That same LSU team almost beat Alabama a couple weeks after A&M beat them. Right?
I love that we have LSU early. I don't care that it's at Baton Rouge. Again, like the Lane Kiffin project, right? I mean, how's it going to play out with the players that he has, his personality? And I get that, they've had, they'll have, summer camp and they've had spring ball, and I get that. But again, it's way different once the light comes, come on
and we
6:30 at night in Baton Rouge.
I mean, just from our own standpoint, if you go back and look at some of those A&M teams, I mean, the Jimbo years and even the Sumlin years, I mean, we were really good and then would fall apart in November, right? That was so beating us in November wasn't as impressive as beating us in October,
But okay, do you think we had a November? We had a November drop off last year, but it was not as significant.
We didn't have an entire we didn't have a 30. We didn't have for us. It was
30
like
days.
It was like a 4-game drop off every year.
Yeah.
Except for the non-conference.
We had a 2.5 game. We had 2.5 game drop off this year in November. So the first half of South Carolina, Texas, and then of course scoring of 3 points against Miami at home. That's the real dagger. I mean, having one bad game against Texas and getting one loss on the schedule is one thing, but to go into your first playoff game and lay an egg like that, the defense played amazing. They held them to 10 points. So.
All right, we'll hit a break here. If your organization or business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, check out the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. We're talking Aggie Ring Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo, the gathering that welcomed tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees, and they offer a wide variety of both digital and in-person options to promote your brand. And this includes title sponsorship, naming, on-site presence, activation, recognition, and social media posts, and much, much more. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for the last 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. It's the Association of Former Students. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. back. UFO Talk during TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio.
Foil.
I'm just saying, look, it's impossible for them to get here. It's impossible.
The files are about to be released. You're about to find out how possible it is.
There's not going to be anything on there. It's going to be a bunch of weird
lizard people.
Yeah, there's no lizard people.
This segment brought to you by Reynolds Wrap.
Yeah, this is look. You can't.
Local tinfoil experts.
We don't. The technology will never exist that you can travel. You can travel interstellarly like that. I mean, our closest star is 4 light years away at the fastest we've ever traveled, 66,000 miles per hour. That would take us what, like 4,500 years to get there.
That's humans. Yes.
Yeah. What are they? I mean, still, the laws of physics still apply to aliens.
Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center.
He's a pilot. He'll agree.
Yeah, he may have seen something. Let's find out from Carson Stein his question to start off the segment.
So I just wanted to repeat what Derm Doc asked in the YouTube chat. What is y'all starting rotations for this Ole Miss series this weekend?
I'm going to let you.
Yeah, and this is, I'm going back to Kendall Rogers, obviously one, because he knows a lot more about college baseball than I do, but also because I agree. I think, and I know that there's the train of thought where you don't want to just don't mess with anything, right? And I understand we lost Auburn series, we didn't get swept, just don't mess with anything. But for me, I move it up. I run Sims on Friday, I run Moss.
Ethan Darden is now starting on Friday. So that just came down the pipeline.
Oh. Yeah, see, I would have moved it up. I would have gone.
Sorry, hold on. Let me hear Nick say that again.
Darden, Sims, TBA.
Darden, Sims, and the TBA.
That's really weird.
Why is that weird?
I don't know. You wouldn't just call Moss, right?
Yeah,
well, because that's what they've done for the last couple of weeks. Is they're saving Moss if you have a chance to win the game 1 or 2. Use him in that situation. If not, you start him game 3.
Yeah, well, my thought is it's for me the approach is with Sadeo, right? Is he better coming out of the pen? Give him a start. Find out. Yeah, put Darden in, and okay. So then my question is, are we doing Moss, Friday or Sunday, or is it?
I would assume they'd keep him on Friday for the, that's what he's been doing, his rest, his rotation. I think the way Bronny described it, I think it was Bronny on Monday, if you do this approach, you keep everything the same, but you don't have him think about that start all week long and get to the start, you bring him in the flow of action. Obviously, when he was very successful in 24, he was coming out of the pen anyway, so try to recapture some of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just my curiosity would be, do you just straight up, obviously, all you have to say is who's going to be on the bump. You don't have to say how you're going to use him, right? Mm-hmm. Is Darden honestly an opener for Shane? Is that what we're doing, right? So that's just where the question is. Personally, I would have moved everybody up, and I would have run Darden out Sunday as a starter, get him through the lineup literally once, through the lineup, and bring in Sadeo. That's what I would have done, and then it's the Sunday, pitch by committee to finish off the game if you need it.
Right.
If Sadeo can't run out, 6-7 innings, which is a tall task, whether you start the game or finish the game. 6-7 innings it's a tall task against any SEC roster.
Matt, anything you want to add to that?
No, it's exactly the same. I would feel the exact same way. But hey, Michael Earley knows a lot more about this than I do. He knows those arms. He knows his guys. He's listened to his coaching. So whatever choices they make, I'm good with it right now. I'm not second guessing him at this point.
Yeah.
So
where are you guys on this playoff expansion that this week the coaches committee talked about, the AFCH or whatever it's called, said that.
FCA. Yeah, I think it's what it is. Association of Former College or
Football
Coach Association or.
It's so funny. We went all these years. They were like, oh no, playoffs are terrible. It's bad for the student athlete. It's bad for this. Now it's just going to be a free for all for. Well, let's add as many teams as we can.
Let me ask you
Once
guys
they
a
saw how much
question.
money they made off of it.
I am against playoff expansion beyond 16, but I can make an argument for more playoff expansion if done the right way. I don't know, dude. If we want to make bowl games matter and bringing bowl games into some kind of playoff structure, I'm not completely against expanding it, right? But I also think the first couple rounds need to be at home sites, right? Mm-hmm. So on campus.
And no buys. I don't think there should be any buys.
Why? And that's what Olin says, but why don't you think there should be buys?
Because we don't get buys in the NCAA tournament, do we? No. You go.
You do in the NFL, though.
You're in the NFL, but you don't get it in any other playoff system that I can think of. Well, maybe Major League. No. MLB, you got to play in the first round, too. So, yeah, no, NFL is the only place where you're getting buys. So make the number 1 team play the number 16 seed. I mean, it's that simple. And then, of course, if you go to 16, you couldn't do buys anyways because it's got to all match up. So you just go. And so that means the number one seed, who was the number one seed? Was it Georgia or Ohio State?
Ohio State.
Ohio State. So Ohio State now gets two playoff games at home against a.
No, it was Indiana.
Indiana. Sorry. Indiana gets two playoff games at home, and the first game's against a group of 5 team.
Nick, you were saying in my ear? Yeah, there are buys in the MLB. There's a wild card round, and you have buys. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Wild card.
No, I think.
Now we're going to get those text messages about the fan show that go the other way.
Yeah, here we go. Sorry.
Look, for me, I think 16 is the sweet number, like the kind of the sweet spot, right? And I think it's we've talked about this before, 2 rounds at home, 16 teams, just off you go.
Yeah, but by the way, the buys, just so you know, last year, every team with a bye lost their first game.
Except?
All of them did last year. This past season, this past season, all 4 teams in 24.
24
lost, and then all but one lost. Indiana was the only one that won their game. So the buys are not doing them any favors. So it's, getting a bye is not the best thing in the world.
Well, the other thing they also brought up was getting rid of conference championships. I mean, this was the whole proposal, right? It's not just spending 24; it's getting rid of conference championships, and we're going to be done by X date on the calendar. So, I think you can go to 16, keep the conference championships, but again, like that's a whole nother conversation of are they worth it?
Right. We got to drop it there. We got Braden Shewmake on the other side. Awesome. Gentlemen, thank you very much for doing an early fan show.
Yeah, appreciate
You've got 11 people that love the fan show.
739 more, and they get a picture
by the end of the hour.
By the end of the year.
By the end of the year? Why don't we give out your phone number and we? No, probably not.
Text Roy May.
Yeah, 979
696 1150.
Hey,
693.
Look his number up.
693.
Hey, he's on Bach website.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you. When we come back, Braden Shewmake talk about the home run against Shohei, talk about his time with the Astros, talk back about his time at A&M and the A&M baseball team. That and more at TexAgs Live. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time to be joined by an Aggie great who's now with the Astros. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We're joined by Astros infielder and, of course, a College Station great, Braden Shewmake here on the program. What's going on, sir?
Not a whole lot. Got a good off day here in Cincinnati, so it was a good day to hop on and chat with you guys.
I appreciate it. So let's just go back to a couple weeks ago when you find out you're getting traded to the Astros, just what your thoughts were getting back to the great state of Texas.
Yeah, that was a weird one. It was late Saturday night. I was getting my bags packed up, about to play Sunday game at 1:00, and I think it was like 11:30, almost midnight. I was crawling into bed, and I got a call from one of our coaches and I wasn't expecting a phone call at all, so I was kind of curious as to what this was about. And so anyways, he told me then, hey, you're out of here. I was like, I'm out of here? What are you talking about? I had no idea what you're talking about. He's like, you're going to Houston. I was like, wow, this is it's kind of a dream come true. Get back home to Texas and around family and back close to College Station.
So how were you welcomed initially? Like, I mean, that's in the middle of the season, getting traded, a team that's been pretty established. I know they've had a rough start to the year, but how was that transition?
It was great. I mean, this clubhouse is fantastic. I mean, from the veteran guys to the younger guys on the team, I mean, welcomed with open arms. Carlos and Jose and Paredes and Jordan, like all the guys have been great. And you can't really ask for a better situation to step into.
Am I right? Your first at bat was against the Yankees and you hit a home run. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was also a wild one. That was game kind of got out of hand, and our bench coach came to me and said, "Hey, you're going to go in here and give Altuve a spell, or I think it was might have been Carlos. Yeah, you're going to give Carlos a spell, so we're going to give him a cup. We're going to give him the rest of the game off, and just go do what you do and get your feet wet and be ready." So I went in there and we put a good plan together, and I got a pitch I was looking for. So.
Is it also true when you were traded from the Braves to the White Sox that also happened? Like, it was pretty quickly after that you hit a home run against the same team?
So it wasn't against the Braves, but it was my first at bat with the White Sox. Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty ridiculous in a good way. Like, I don't think that happens very often. I mean, so hopefully you don't get traded a lot, but if you do, we know we can count on a home run.
Yeah. No, I hope I can stay here for a while. That's for sure.
And then, obviously, I know you guys lost yesterday, but the day before, you had a home run against Shohei, and it was awesome to see that at Daikin Park. To me, I covered the Astros for a long time. I know all those guys, and they're so great. To me, it's still Minute Maid, but I know now it's Daikin Park. Just talk about that, getting a home run there at your home field.
Yeah, that was a fun game to be a part of, man. I mean, we came from Boston, played a really good game on Sunday there, went into extra innings, and ended up winning that game. That was a fun game to play in Fenway, and then to turn around and play the Dodgers in a tight one and be able to hit a home run off a guy like that was pretty special. But like I said, our pitching staff was fantastic. We played really good defense, and we got a couple big hits. I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. This league is so tough. Day in and day out, everybody's really good. So, I don't know, man. I wasn't necessarily trying to do that, but I was trying to just do anything I can to get on base and get back to the top of the lineup.
Talking to Braden Shewmake here on TexAgs Live. Braden, let's go back to your time at A&M. Just take me back to the thought process, why you picked A&M, how that all kind of came about.
Yeah, I guess it was first day that the recruiting window opened. I got a call right before dinner time from Will Bolt, and he told me, "Hey, we want you to come down this next weekend for a visit." And I remember running to go have dinner with my family and telling my dad, like, "Hey, I got a call from A&M. They want me to come down." Because I'd gone to a camp. What was that? End of the summer or so. So I'd gone to a camp down there, and like I said, he reached out and he was like, "Hey, we really like what you can do. We want you to come down. We want to talk with you a little bit, and then we'll go from there." So came down on that visit, talked to the coaching staff, saw the facilities, saw the campus, did a little bit of all that, and then sat down with Rob a little bit, and he laid it out like, "Hey, man, this is what we can do. this is kind of the scholarship that we have. So this is what we're willing to do for you. And I remember we pulled out, we're on Welborn, take a right onto University. And I looked at my dad and I said, man, I think this is what I'm going to do. And he was like, look, take as much time as you need. But when you decide you're going to go to a school, we're not decommitting, we're not doing any of that. You are going there. So that for me, it didn't even really stress me out because I loved the atmosphere. I loved College Station. I loved the coaching staff. The guys were great. So there was not really a second thought in my mind. And then a couple weeks later, right after one of my early football practices, got on the phone and gave Will a call and told him, hey, I'm coming.
So I read this as I was preparing for this interview. You started 188 out of 189 possible games. How much pride do you take in being an Ironman player, especially when you're at your time here at A&M?
Yeah, that's something that I really want to do. I want to play every single day. I remember that one game was at Arkansas. I didn't play that game. I'll always remember that one game, but and that one sucked. I really wanted to play every game in my whole career, but yeah, it's hard to help the team when you're not healthy. So trying to stay healthy, and our nutritionist, and Blair was our nutritionist, and she was fantastic, and our training staff and weight staff was great, and just trying to stay healthy and stay on the field.
What do you remember about your freshman year? That was a magical year.
Yeah, a lot actually. That was a really fun year. We're coming into the fall. I remember we went into the cages. I guess that might have been even that second semester in the summer. Then we were just hitting balls off the tee and flips and all that stuff. And they had the TrackMan on. You could see how hard everybody's hitting the ball. And I remember looking up, going, "Man, I got to figure out how to hit the ball harder. These guys are strong." I went in, put on about 30 pounds in that summer and fall going into the season, and the bat speed started to jump and the exit velocity started to jump. And I just kind of remember going like, look, no matter where you're hitting in the lineup, like, you have a lot of really good players around you. You don't have to do more than you can do. And I think that might have been the year that I did that the best, was just try to be me and not try to do any more than anybody else needs me to do.
So we're watching this Aggie baseball team right now, having to grind through this SEC schedule. And I'm curious, from your time at A&M, how much did that prepare you for life in the big leagues, where every weekend's a grind, or every game's a grind, every series?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those guys that are playing now and facing a lot of the arms that they're facing now are going to end up facing them in pro ball again, because that league is just so good. Man, I mean, I remember we played Florida, and we saw Singer and Kowar back-to-back days. Both guys have been successful. Singer's still doing it. I saw those guys. Saw Kyle Wright from Vanderbilt. He's obviously still doing it as well. Casey Mize is another name. Like, there's just so many quality players in that league that I don't think there's another league in the country that prepares you the way that the SEC does.
Do you get to pay attention? I know it's hard during the season, I'm sure, because you're playing, you're preparing, but are you able to keep up with what's happening with Aggie baseball?
Yeah, I check the scores every weekend. I check them every weekend. I see the scores on Tuesday nights. I don't necessarily keep up as much on Tuesday nights, but over the weekend, I try to keep a pretty close eye.
So, just your thoughts on this team that they've had some issues pitching, but here we are at the end of the season, couple series left. They got a chance to be a national seed, and they can mash, man. They can absolutely mash.
Yeah, I kind of had that conversation just with kind of what was leaving and who they had left and who they had coming in. I kind of had a conversation with a couple of my buddies, and I was like, look, they're obviously they're going to hit. If they pitch, they're going to be really dangerous. And I think the pitching staff has actually done a pretty good job. Like, yeah, it started off a little rocky, but they got their feet underneath them, and they've been throwing the ball pretty well. They've been giving their offense a chance, and like you said, that offense is scary. You got guys like Jory. He's a freshman. I can't believe that kid's a freshman. He's huge.
Well, Braden, man, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much. Enjoy Cincinnati. Have a great series, and I hope to talk to you again at some point.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gig'em. Braden Shewmake there on the Buppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Way to break. Shout out to Steve Grande with the Astros for setting that up, and Nick Savage getting that connected. Really appreciate that. Way to break. We'll come back with a final segment. We'll see what Carson's thinking about, and we'll close out the show. You're listening to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Final segment of the program, we call it TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Carson Stein, how's your first day been? First day back, I should say.
It's been good so far, besides the fan show slip-up moment.
It wasn't that bad.
Wasn't that bad, but you kind of made
it. It wasn't that good, but it wasn't that bad.
Right in the middle. I just wanted to get your opinion on this. I don't know if you saw this report. Current Penn State coach Matt Campbell was supposed to accept the Detroit Lions job in 2020 before he changed his mind. They pivoted and hired Dan Campbell.
I don't remember that. I mean, it sounds somewhat familiar, but I think it worked out for all parties.
I've just been seeing the report surface again.
Why is it surfacing now?
I have no real reason. I've just been seeing it going around.
Yeah, I think it worked out for everybody. I think the Lions got a freaking boss head coach, right? Like Dan Campbell's the truth. Right, and I think Matt Campbell had a nice run, and now he's going to step up in weight class. We'll see how he does. I think he's a really good coach. His name was hot like 3 years ago. Then again, got a little bit hot this year. So good luck to him as long as they're not playing A&M. I do want to go to Happy Valley. I'd love to see a game there with the Aggies obviously playing there.
It's funny we're talking about Penn State. I know Reese brought up Brett McMurphy's on-3 projected playoff and everything, but another on-3 contributor doesn't have A&M in the playoffs in his latest projections.
Who's this? What guy?
Let me find his name. Steve Sarma.
Never heard of him. Sorry, Steve, if you're listening to the show, apologies.
He has A&M playing Penn State in the ReliaQuest Bowl this year instead of making the playoffs.
I should know this. Which was the Relia? Is that the Tampa one?
Yeah, Tampa.
That's. I don't think that's a shot. Like, people's opinions based on unknowns are just guesses. We went through it yesterday. Was it Joel Klatt that we went through yesterday of who he had his? So this past year, if you want, Google his preseason rankings, post-spring preseason rankings, and we went through what his were last year, and they were all off, right? Like, and that's not a shot at Klatt. I just think there's so many unknowns here. It is very difficult to gauge what veterans and time together in the saddle and what a coach can do in year one. It's very difficult. Like, nobody in the history of the world, right, except one guy, would have probably predicted what Indiana's done the last 2 years. Nobody. Right? That's not something you predict. I don't think I would have predicted it up until maybe mid-season last year. Maybe then, right? Like, so people thinking A&M is, because I think that's typically been a 9-3 team that goes to that bowl. I think Texas went last year. Right? That doesn't surprise me. I don't think that's a shot. A&M's got a tough schedule. I am a believer if some of those questions that we have are answered, then they're going to be a playoff team. I always use this as my philosophy. How many questions do you have entering a season? If you have, hey, I got 5 questions about this Aggie football team. That's not that many. If you've got 10, and all of them have to hit yes for this team, then I start to worry. And the year that they went, I think, was 7-5, Jimbo's last year, I think I had like 8, 9, 10 questions about that team. They were coming off the 5-7 year, so of course I did, right? But if you hit this, and you hit this, and you hit this. So if we were to ask the question out loud, how many ifs do we have to talk about A&M football? A big if is, does Marcel Reed take a step forward? Okay? And I think he will. In fact, I don't even know if that's an if for me that much. I think it's the offensive line is the if. Because if the offensive line doesn't take a step forward, it doesn't allow Marcel to take a step forward.
I think the ifs are offensive line and defensive line, because you are losing a lot of production from the defensive line last year.
Yeah, you are. But where I have, you got Elijah Robinson back, where I have a little bit of faith is that Coach Elko seems to get guys to play pretty well at the defensive line no matter who's here. Shamar Stewart, Shamar Turner, Nick Scorton leave. They reload the next year and they're fine, right? So, yes, it is a question. It is absolute. You can't lose 10 guys to the NFL and not have questions, right? But Miami lost 9 dudes. Texas A&M lost 10 dudes. Texas, I think, lost 7 dudes to the NFL, right? To the NFL draft. So Alabama lost 10 guys to the NFL draft.
Ohio State, I think, lost. It's either 11 or 12.
So it's not like they're alone in this conversation. The difference is that Ohio State has had sustainability reloading. I think Texas, the last few years, has done a good job reloading. I don't think they're at the obvious Ohio State level. Indiana, it'll be a real question for them. Like, they've had 2 different quarterbacks in that system, right? But how well do they reload now? And A&M has got to answer that question. So yes, defensive line. If I were to prioritize my list, it would probably start with the offensive line. I might go linebacker second just because of the injury to Damian Sanford. I don't really have a lot of questions about the secondary. I really don't. I have questions, can this team fix the misfits problem? Right? That I have a problem with, a question about. Like, that's a separate question. It's not just a position group question. It is a football philosophy, or not philosophy, a football flaw that they showed last year to give up these big plays. So that would be a question.
I'd have a question on the D tackles, not necessarily how good they will be, but how it ends up going against the run. Because I feel like last year, especially if you look at that Miami game, there was a lot of times Albert Regis is out. We're giving up 15, 20-yard plays.
Yeah, and I don't think it was just
not
the defensive tackles there. But yes, I don't disagree. So to go back to what you're saying, look, I think a 9-3 season, which is what this gentleman is talking about. When you have to go to Baton Rouge, you have to go to Tuscaloosa, you have to go to Norman, you got to play Texas, you got to go to Columbia, you got to go to South Carolina. Like, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. I know that's what Olin says. It's not supposed to be easy. I like when it's easy, though. I like when it's easy, and then like for instance, Indiana last year, I wouldn't say they had an easy schedule, but their ramp up to the playoffs, I would say, was dramatically easier than what A&M had, right? And they were fresh, they were good, and they were the best team in football. Like, regardless of what their schedule would have said. But I'm just curious what happens when you have that kind of schedule, the how beat up you get. And I would say another question I have is backup quarterback spot, right? Like, I think Brady Hart's going to be really good, but he's a young kid, right? So there's a young quarterback room beyond Marcel, past Marcel, that's unproven. Hopefully you don't have to find out, right? But that would be a question, although what I saw in the spring game, I was quite impressed with. Carson, nice job on your return to the show.
Appreciate you. Shout out.
Shout out? Yeah.
Shout out David Nuño.
Yeah, you're not chopped, okay?
I'm not chopped.
You're pretty good at what you do. Thank you very much. All right, tomorrow on the show, what we got? We got the baseball bunch guys, Scotty, Bronny, and Richie. We've got Olin Buchanan. We've got Billy Lucci. My thanks to all of our guests today. Braden Shewmake was awesome. That was a fun conversation. Stephen McGee earlier in the show. We had Michael Earley and Richard Zane, Aaron Torres, and, of course, the world-famous fan show that 11 people really, really loved. All right, we appreciate everybody. We'll see you mañana.